Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year to our great fans on Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. I am Rick Kamla. Lower right, it is the patriarch, the creator, the founder, Dr. Phil McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X, one of the top sports medicine radiologists in America, and huge Knicks fan, A.M. Pfeffer, businessman, author, holding it down in our L.A. studios, which is where we will be over All-Star break. And Doc, we had the meeting and was talking about that yesterday. Oh, am I excited for that. Guys, that's coming up around the corner about a month from now. So usually I'm wearing a coat like AM and all this kind of stuff. And I know that, like, I'm behind enemy lines here with two huge Knicks fans, and I'm flaunting some Pistons gear. But we have a good reason for doing it. The great Rick Mahorn will be joining the show here today. The original bad boy, 1 hour from now at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Dr. X, we got Horn, man. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. Man, you guys about to bring up some beef over here, some old school beef.
Well, it's going to be cool, AM. Like, Rick's going to be on here, and we don't have Brandon Armstrong and Dwight Walton today. We love them, and God bless them. They've got like some illness stuff going on, which I just had. That's why we didn't have the show on Monday. But AM, here we go, baby. I mean, Rick Mahorn is the color analyst for the Pistons on radio. Are you guys going to be able to play nice with him as Knicks fans?
First of all, no. Second of all, I am so excited you got Rick Mahorn on the show today. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he is like a pivotal piece of NBA lore. Like 89-90 was like absolutely one of the pivotal, amazing years in the National Basketball Association. I can't wait to meet him and talk to him. This is exciting as hell, man.
He's an awesome guy too, man. You guys are gonna love him. Awesome personality. He's like the big teddy bear type, right? You know, between the lines, it's going to go that way. But like outside the lines, he's a big teddy bear. But we love Rick Mahorn, and he'll be on about an hour from now. Breaking news, guys. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but Mike McDaniel got sacked. The Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel. This happened today, and they pump faked him. Okay, so Monday he's meeting with reporters saying he's going to be a part of the interview process for their new GM, and then he meets with the owner, Ross, on Tuesday, and then gets whacked on Thursday. Hey, it's a tough gig sometimes, but he got broke off a new contract like a year and a half ago, so he's going to get paid on the way out. There's no 8 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. That's 25% of the league, okay? Obviously, the Ravens moved on from John Harbaugh. We're going to dive into that later in the show. The Browns, they're always looking for a coach. The Raiders, the Titans, the Giants, the Falcons, the Cardinals, and the Dolphins. Ooh, the Jets, AM, are not looking for a coach. They're hanging in there with Aaron Glenn.
For now. They are for now. I mean, if one of the big names, I'm sure there's conversations back, behind the scenes trying to get a guy like John Harbaugh, but he's not coming. And Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach next year. And there's no reason to switch coordinator to coordinator yet again.
Exactly. And guess what? The Jets are going to suck no matter who their coach is. Sorry, AM. I mean, he already knows. AM knows.
You're right. Yeah, there's no argument here. They're going to suck.
All right, so let's get to the real breaking news here. And this came down yesterday. And guys, and I want to say another thing here. No timers today because we don't have Dwight and we don't have Brandon. It's just the three of us. So no timers today. We got some elbow room. Let's have some fun. Trae Young was traded to Washington. Okay? The Hawks traded Trae Young to the Wizards for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert. And I know you're out there. You're like, and. No, that's it. That's all they got. Okay? So per ESPN, this was Trae Young's preferred destination. He is the second player since the merger in 77 to average 25 points a game for a single team in his first 400 career games and be traded away before reaching game number 500. Said another way, this is a completely stupid trade by the Hawks. So the question is, guys, and I'm going to give you my answer right now, and we'll go around the room here. Who won the trade? For me, the Wizards blew out the Hawks, okay? This was a Mike Tyson fight, one of those joints where he went bam, bam, and it's a 15-second fight. That's all it is. The Wizards got Trae Young for 20 cents on the dollar. The whole front office should be fired for not getting back any long-term assets, not even a second-round pick. For Trae Young. Trae Young is officially the most disrespected player in the game, maybe of all time, okay? He was just traded for a washing machine. Y'all remember the best basketball movie ever, right? Semi-Pro. Jackie Moon trades a washing machine to the Kentucky Colonels for veteran point guard Ed Monix, a.k.a. Woody Harrelson, to help the Flint Tropics make a playoff push. A washing machine, okay? With all due respect to C.J. McCollum, who I do love, right? And I'm happy for him to be on a mid team as opposed to a Washington team, but he's 34. And is he going to all he's going to do is help keep the Hawks super mid, okay? Corey Kispert signed a 4-year, $54 million contract with the Wizards, and he's been banished to the bench ever since signing on the dotted line, a la Duncan Robinson, and he's just a guy, and he's overpaid at that. CJ's a free agent at the end of the year, so starting next season, the Hawks will have Corey Kispert to show for the Luka Doncic trade. Oh, wow. This is GM malpractice, guys. The Hawks are so stupid. They traded Trae Young within their division. Duh. Are you kidding me? And now they have to get torched by Trae Young 4 times a year, and he's going to be all up in State Farm Arena doing the Trae Young ice trade thing. Why did the Hawks have to move so quickly? They hastily traded Trae without waiting until the deadline in February 5th, just under a month from now, okay? And as desperation increases, as the deadline increases, packages increase, but the dumbass Hawks didn't want to go down that road. The Bucks, Wolves, and Clippers were all mentioned as monitoring the situation. Why not wait it out a little bit? So, guys, and if you need to curb Trae and get him off the court as you try to trade him, then do it. You don't want to play there anymore. You don't want him playing there anymore. So just ride it out another couple of weeks. It's so freaking stupid to me. And I'm not one bit surprised because I got a little history, and then Dr. X, I'm going to you here. Okay? The Hawks might be the worst traders in NBA history. My Wolves might be one, or maybe they're just bad drafters. But anyway, the Hawks are notoriously horrible traders. They traded Trae Young for a washing machine. They traded Luka effing Doncic, maybe a top 20 player of all time. They traded Dominique Wilkins, and Atlanta fans are still pissed about that. Get this, guys. They traded Pau Gasol for Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and then traded Sharif for Rasheed Wallace, who played 1 game in an Atlanta uniform. Wow. Okay, Pau Gasol, they could have had him. And they traded Steve Smith to Portland for a song in the 1990s. So I think it's a blowout. Wizards win the trade. Dr. X, you are up. Who won this trade?
I think long term, honestly speaking, I was listening to my cousin Dwight in our group chat yesterday, and he said whoever gets the best player technically won the trade. I could see, I don't think, obviously the Hawks were already good without Trae Young. They developed a lot of guys. I think Jalen Johnson has been playing great. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was playing great. And Jalen Johnson, I already said him, but who's the other the great barrier thief? Dyson Daniels. Yeah, so they had, and then I like that center, the shooter, I think how do you say his name?
Okongwu. Yeah.
Yeah. He was he's solid. He's a stretch big. And they just have a lot of positions. So I feel like CJ fits perfectly because he's not going to really, dominate. He's not going to be ball dominant like Trae Young is. So all in all, I think the Atlanta Hawks in the short term have only gotten stronger. And if Kristaps Porzingis can stay, healthy and continue to come off the bench and give strong minutes, maybe 25 minutes at least, I like the Hawks' chances to be at least a spoiler. But I don't think the Wizards are going to be any better than the Hawks. I think the Hawks will still be better defensively. They just have more guys that I think are more cohesive. I do agree with you though, Rick. I think they should have gotten a little bit more for Trae Young. I don't know if they were trying to honor his request for all the good things Trae Young has been to the franchise since being drafted there, but they should have at least gotten someone that I know well through my cousin Dwight, who's the godfather of Keyshawn George. But someone like Keyshawn George should have been added there, like a young player that's coming up. Corey Kispert is great, but he's a shooter. He's good. That's something they probably need. But I do like CJ. CJ is a bucket. So I'm not against the trade. I think it makes sense for both teams in the short term. But I'll be excited to see, because I think the Wizards really needed a point guard to be cohesive to this young roster with Alex Sarr. And I think Bub Carrington wasn't really holding it down in the point guard spot, but he will definitely learn from a player like Trae Young. So I think all in all, that's a great thing for these Washington Wizards going forward. And hopefully, you know what? This is probably the beginning of what the Wizards are going to do. The Wizards will likely probably add another player. I think, Jonathan Kuminga would be a great fit. And I think someone like Trae Young would really activate all his powers and capabilities.
Ooh, a Kuminga take at the end. I really like that, Doc. I liked it a lot. And you're so right, because like you have this young team, you're in this perpetual tank, and you go get Trae Young. Okay. Like, I think you can win with Trae Young. It's hard. You have to thread the needle. Okay. You have to have the computation of your team just right. Okay. That's on the GM. And you said honor the request, right? So Washington was reportedly his preferred destination. And I do understand, Trae, you've been great. Our fans have loved you. We want to take care of you. However, you've got to take care of your team. You are jettisoning this man. What matters more than taking care of Trae is taking care of the Atlanta Hawks. And they did not do that. So I don't know if they kind of played the nice guy card here, or if they just got bamboozled in a trade. I kind of think it's the latter. Because, loyalty only goes so far in the NBA, especially when you're unzippering and divorcing like Trae and the Hawks are. A.M. Pfeffer, who won the Trae Young trade?
First of all, everybody, welcome to the new National Basketball Association, where it's just weeks ago we're talking about Trae Young getting traded into potentially a Giannis package, and then he ends up for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert and nothing else. And like you said, Rick, this happened well before the trade deadline. And like you said, Rick, the Hawks have a history of being the worst traders in the NBA, and I'm not going to argue with you there. But that's where it ends. They won the trade, and they won this trade by a mile. What? Yes, they absolutely did. This is, first of all, Trae Young is not where the NBA is heading, okay? The NBA at this point was scoring up as much as it is about individual defense, and I can't think of a worse player than Trae Young for individual defense. He wanted to go to the Washington Wizards. Think about that. That was his destination, okay? So he got what he wanted, so he could go have his own team and put up 40 a night and do his ice cold and set the arena on fire, and the Wizards are still going nowhere, okay? Why did the Hawks win this trade? First of all, C.J. McCollum, I don't even know why we're talking about him as a basketball player. He's 34 years old, and you know what he is? He's an expiring contract. And in today's National Basketball Association, that actually matters more than expiring contracts did 5 to 10 years ago with the first and second apron and whatever it is. So great trade by the Hawks, taking his $30 million. They're going to get off the books at the end of this year. Kristaps Porzingis and his $30 million comes off the books at the end of this year. And now the Hawks don't have to wait to see what they were going to do with Trae Young, or even have a conversation or what was going to happen, and lose him for absolutely nothing at the end of the year. And because he was getting traded either way, and he didn't want to be there, and they weren't going to sign him to a long-term contract. Now there's no max guy on the Hawks. Jalen Johnson is making $30 million a year. He's your one guy, but he's still, we talked about him being the Batman, and he actually is, but he's only getting paid $30 million a year. Now you have money for a max contract guy as you want to bring in. Corey Kispert, by the way, actually matters here. Why? Ricochet isn't playing well. Your small forward really just hasn't been that good for the last 4 to 6 weeks. That's just the reality of it. You want to talk about a miss. That was a miss as the number one pick, right? Sarr is a better pick and probably would have been a better asset for them. So now you actually have to have Corey Kispert come in and give you realistic minutes. This is a 500 ball club without Trae Young, and you've got and your guard play is actually very good, and Johnson is very good as your forward. So you've got these exciting wings, you've got these exciting athletic players on there, and you have money now moving into next year for max contract guy, whoever that is, or 2 years from now. And you also, right, as far as I know, control the New Orleans Pelicans or the Milwaukee Bucks pick, the better of the two, whichever comes out. So maybe you might end up pretty high in the lottery here. I think the Hawks are positioning themselves for something better. They might not be looking at this year and saying, hey, we're still going to compete. But overall, it's like, get Trae Young out of the building, get the headache away. And the last thing I want to say is, like, why did they need to do this now? They absolutely needed to do it now. Don't wait until the trade deadline. This isn't about trying to eke out some extra asset or some other team who gets desperate towards a trade deadline. My man wanted to go to the Wizards. The Wizards were ready to pull the trigger. Get it done. This is a bird in hand. The Hawks won this trade so far and away, it's not even funny. Sorry, Rick. Trae Young just ain't the guy. The NBA is moving in a different direction.
I want to see if I can get you guys laughing a little bit here. So you know that I've been blessed to be in a lot of really heady conversations with NBA ball players, current and mostly former. Rick Mahorn joining us in about 45 minutes. What they told me is, because, you know, working in Atlanta at Turner Sports, it would come up a lot, right? We talk about local sports, national sports, football, everything, right? And the whole thing with the Hawks is they can never get a free agent, right? They just always swing and miss on free agents. They don't get the big boy, you know, the big max guy. Maybe they want it, maybe they don't, but they just never get it, okay? And ball players consistently, many of them, over years, okay? So this is it a truism? It's a truism-ish. Let me get to the punchline here. Okay, a lot of NBA players have side pieces. What I've been told is that most or a high percentage of those side pieces reside in Atlanta, Georgia. And ball players do not want to take a job with the Atlanta Hawks and bring their families down to Atlanta, because then it gets dicey because their side piece is already in Atlanta. They need Atlanta to be that road city, okay, where they don't have the family and they're on the road and they can do what they, you know, I don't condone that behavior, but hey, it kind of happens every once in a while. So your guys' reaction to that? I've been told by all kinds of ball players, man, players don't want to play in Atlanta other than on the road because of the side piece factor.
Yo, I love this. It's not Atlanta. It's Hotlanta, baby. And you're not wrong. And that's probably a very good reason why. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there's still going to be one guy. There's enough to get one guy, and they're positioning themselves in today's NBA with the first and second apron. This, again, is a brand new NBA. We are just in a different era, a different place. But you bring up a good point. That is a very fair point as to why somebody would want to, but there's going to be somebody that they need and can slot in there, and it's going to be a winning organization in a year or two. I like what they're doing. I like the position they're in, but Rick, you bring it up, man. That is true beyond the surface. I love that.
Hey, Dr. X, you know what's going to happen here?
Never heard of it.
you know what's going to happen here, Dr. X? The Atlanta Hawks are going to go make a big move for Anthony Davis, right? There's already some reporting about it, and Dallas wants. They've already been talking and all this kind of stuff, according to reports. So to AM's point, CJ comes off. You know, you've got the money. They could go get an Anthony Davis, and they could fit his salary in and all that kind of stuff. And can you imagine, like, if Anthony Davis was unmotivated, a lot of times playing with LeBron James out in LA, he looks, you know, like fleetingly motivated in Dallas. I think the motivation level in Dallas has been very, very low. And motivation level for Anthony Davis is like everything for me. He's not a high motor guy. Okay, you got to rev him up, right? Phenomenal player. But, like, I like the motor guys where, you know, there's no question, what are we getting for it? But with Anthony Davis, you do question it, okay? So what would the motivation level be for Anthony Davis in Atlanta? I mean, it's checkout mode, bro. He'd play half the games. So, Doc, could you see maybe Anthony Davis being in a Hawk uniform next year or at this deadline, and would you like that?
I think at this point, a team would probably just trade like the only way to get a player that they really want would be for them to trade him. I don't think I agree with you. It'd be hard to sign like a superstar that just wants to be in Atlanta, unless they're from there originally or something like that. But I think they do have the assets now to get someone. I think there's a lot of players on Atlanta that would fit really well with the Dallas Mavericks. But honestly speaking, whatever they get has to equal to what Luca was. So Anthony Davis being there makes more sense than a lot of options that people have been talking about. It's just the fact that he's injured. So a lot, not often injured. So, and then you have to think about fit. Like who's going to really fit with Cooper Flag, and who's going to fit with a Kyrie Irving that comes back from injury. And the biggest question out there is Kyrie going to be healthy? You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of I think the Dallas Mavericks should wait before they get rid of a player like Anthony Davis after just coming off of adding him for someone like Luca. So they just have to make sure that it makes sense. When we look back, there has to be close to equal value. And I think the most equal value you'll get for Luca right now is what they traded was Anthony Davis. It's just that it didn't make sense to us because of he's often not even available.
Doc, I love the point because they haven't seen Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving play together yet. Or at least for a long period. Maybe they played a couple games last year. I don't even remember, but yeah, something like that. But they got to see Kyrie and Davis play together with Flag, and you've got some, PJ Washington and Gafford, and I know Lively's out for the year. My guy Brandon Williams, fantasy waiver wire marvel. All right, guys, let's move on here. We got Rick Mahorn coming on in about 38 minutes, about 40 minutes, whatever. Rick Mahorn, joining your guys here on Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Happy New Year, folks. All right, guys, let's talk Oklahoma City. What is wrong with the Thunder? I'm watching basketball on Monday night. I'm bouncing around to games, and we had the Phoenix and Houston game and Knicks and Pistons, and I was on that one until about like late third, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I got to watch some other games. And all of a sudden, like, I'm scrolling through League Pass, and I'm like, what? Charlotte was up by like 22 in the third quarter. I'm like, okay, I love this Houston-Phoenix game, but I got to go to OKC and see what in the bleep is happening here. Okay, so they get destroyed at home by Charlotte, all right? And I know, no Hartenstein. I don't think they had Caruso, but come on, bro. Like, you had SGA, you had Chet, you had J-Dub. Like, come on. You got drilled by 27 to a 12-23 Hornets team, okay? And then last night, OKC goes to Utah. They survived the Jazz in overtime, 46 points from SGA. They're now 7-6 in their last 13 games. That's like Hawk mid, okay? But they still have the best That's right, they caught a stray. I'm pissed at the Hawks right now. I am. I'm not true to Atlanta. I actually am true to Atlanta, but right now there's a little interruption in it. Anyway, OKC still has the best record in the league at 31-7. Detroit is number 2, guys, on their heels, 2.5 games back. OKC leads the league in net rating and defensive rating. So, like, not everything is like in the dumpster here, okay? And here's what Coach Daigneault had to say. And Doc, I'm going to go to you first on this. Coach Dag said, when you win the championship and you start the way we started, it comes with the territory. I think it gives you a unique opportunity to really improve through that. It's a competitive privilege to be a team that other teams are playing up for. So, Dr. X, what is wrong right now with the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I think a lot of their other players aren't up to the task, like in terms of the spotlight, the big spotlight being on them. And I think a lot of other teams, they look at the roster and they're like, yo, our others or up and coming stars are just as good as their bench and the rest of their guys. And I don't think any of their superstars strike any fear into anybody. Chet, if you're a big in the league, you feel like you can muscle Chet and kind of bully Chet. If you see Jaylen Williams, he's a very fast player. He's strong. He's athletic. He could, he does a lot of good things, but a lot of their threes as a team are missing. They don't really shoot threes well as a team. I think yesterday they were 7 of 37. They were like 18%, and that was in the overtime period against the Utah Jazz. And so when you think about it, their defense is really just how they play cohesively, and they play with that dog in them. that's really what sets them apart. And then you have SGA, the head of the snake, which ultimately will get them where they need to go because of how efficient he is. And so they don't really waste possessions. But when it comes down to a three shooting team, like a team like the Charlotte Hornets, if they get hot, and I think Miles Bridges wasn't even hitting a lot of threes that game. But they get hot. You have Brandon Miller, you have LaMelo Ball, you have Con Knipple. If those guys get hot with some threes, and I'm not sure about that game, Rick. If you could look up how many threes they hit that
Yeah,
game, but I think that's where it comes down to it.
Doc, that I actually, as you were talking, I went there. Charlotte was blistering from three in this game. They shot 19 of 37, 51%. I'm talking about not the Utah game, but the Charlotte win. And OKC sucked. They were 28% on threes, 11 to 39. Great call.
Yeah, so ultimately, if you can beat them in the 3-point game, which is what a lot of teams were doing and were saying, then you can win. And I just feel like Shea, number one, the head of their snake, doesn't shoot that many threes. He'll hit like one or two for the whole game. And then so if you're relying on Dort, you're relying on J Dub, like who else is their big 3-point shooter? And their system, like, it's really their defense that, they're almost like an AU team, like kind of what I sent you earlier, that link. It's like they press, they
Yeah.
press, they press the whole game. And if they get ahead of you, they kind of just steal your will to win at that point. But if you can, get ahead of them with the threes, it's hard for them to catch up because they'll start trying to play that game and they'll lose that game every time if you have a really good, solid, consistent 3-point shooting team. So I think the scouting report is kind of out for the Thunder. Plus, people are coming with their best game, and I just think there are others, aren't. It's always someone different. They don't have a consistent like, okay, these are our guys, and those guys that you think are supposed to be like that are either injured or don't show up that game. It's always someone different. You haven't heard about Isaiah Joe in a while, Aaron Wiggins. I think AJ Mitchell was really their guy in the beginning of the season that was holding them down while J Dub was out. But currently speaking, it's like, you know, they can only do so much. You know what I mean? So it's really just Shea. Shea has been great. But outside of that, who's the guy that's going to step up? So I'm looking at Chet. Has Chet made that next leap? He's really a lot older than what he is because he missed that year, but he's not making that Wemby leap yet. He's around 17 points a game. Um, I'm not sure if he gets the blocks in there, but I don't think he strikes fear into anybody. So that's really my take, is that if you could shoot threes as an opposing team, and then you can, I think a lot of teams have learned from them defensively. Like their teams are starting to do what they do to them. They're giving them a dose of their own medicine. They're attacking as you're dribbling, they're double teaming, and they're just making it hard for them. So with all that said, if they're really not shooting threes well, and now you have a team that's really throwing it back at you defensively, it's really going to be hard to make threes with a team really playing defense on you like that as well.
Excellent breakdown. And as you're saying that, it makes me think of Boston. Like Boston jacks 53 balls a game, right? That's their whole formula, is just to out three you. And if somehow Boston and OKC, that math might not work out for the Thunder. AM Pfeffer, you are next. What is currently wrong with the OKC Thunder?
Man, it's such a shame that just a few weeks ago we were all talking about them breaking all the records in the NBA, including, right? Like most games won and taking down Golden State. So here we are, obviously what it is. Look, it comes down to two things. It's Jaylen Williams to start with, right? He just hasn't been healthy and he hasn't worked his way back into this rotation. This team, I think, was 26-1 with him out. Everybody playing incredible minutes. Doc, you mentioned guys like AJ Mitchell and Wiggins stepping up and doing what they needed to do in his absence. But since he's come back, I think he's like 17-5-5, sub 50 in the field goal percentage, somewhere around like 46%. It's just not getting it done right now, but he's not healthy. I'm not going to panic about it. Let's see where he is in February and March. He's got to work his way back in. He took a lot more time off than I think everybody expected. Like the beginning of the season, it was like, is he going to miss a week or two? And then all of a sudden it was like a month or two. Where's Jaylen Williams, right? And he's coming back and it's just not fitting in right now. The second part is the anchor of your second team, and that's Caruso. I mean, he's an offensive black hole right now. He's still doing it decently defensively, but like offensively, he is just putting you in a hole at the wrong times, and all of a sudden the tone of the game shifts. So yeah, I mean, they're a little bit off right now. Oklahoma City is still top dog in the West, still top dog in the NBA. But at the moment, it's worth having the conversation at 7-6 in their last 13 games. It don't look right. We'll be honest about that.
Indeed. All right. So here's my take. And AM, you're man, we jinxed the you-know-what out of the OKC Thunder. And we're not the only ones. Like, it was a huge topic of conversation around the sports world, right? Oh, my God, they're going to beat the Warriors 73-9. And literally, I think we all jinxed the heck out of that. Okay, OKC, I've got a couple of reasons here, but OKC is tired. They look tired to me. They also look a little bored and complacent. And they've missed some guys, but they're so deep, I can't really give them the out on that. I just think they grinded for 8 months. The NBA regular season is 6 months, okay? Then it's a 2-month playoff, all right? If you play one round, it's 2 weeks, and then you go golfing and on vacation. But if you're OKC in Indiana, you add 2 months on top of these 6 months. And that 2 months is probably like 3 months in terms of like the of the playoffs, right? So it wears you out. And then you go all the way to game 7, okay? And so many players have told me that when you go all the way to the mountaintop, it is hard to recharge mentally, even if you want it. And like you just, your body's recovering the whole off season. And then bam, OKC goes 24-1. Okay, playing like their collective hair was on fire, hustling, scrambling, just doing everything perfectly. Okay, they were in playoff mode when the rest of the season, rest of the league was in get their legs under them mode. But now reality set in. Now you're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. You got a long way to go, bro. You got an ocean to cross here. Every team that plays them is looking to make a name for themselves against OKC, and that's why and how a Charlotte team beats them. You think OKC was all wired and fired up for Charlotte at home? No, but Charlotte was looking at that as, yes, let's go. This is our Super Bowl. Boom, you get what you get. And Doc, you brought up the great 3-point stats. It's hard to maintain that ridiculously high level of play. Frankly, it's impossible, okay? I mean, you can keep it for a long time, but you can't keep it forever, okay? It's just not sustainable. And so they're in a little bit of a lull right now. And I'm glad you brought up Jaylen Williams. And Doc, I do want to eventually ask you a question about J-Dub here. Perhaps even entering the XSN clinic. But Jaylen Williams, like in fantasy basketball, I was off of Jaylen Williams coming into this year. And I love Jaylen Williams. He's a steal guy, 25-5. He's my stat set. But he had right wrist surgery on a torn ligament that he played through, obviously, to win the championship. And flowers, bro. That's some Warrior stuff. I freaking love it, okay? But it's fantasy business, bro. And I made a good decision here because J-Dub ain't J-Dub. Those worries that I had are playing out on the court. Last year, Jaylen Williams was at 21.6 PPG. He's at 17.2 right now. That is a dramatic fall off, okay? He's down 48% to 46% overall. The three-point shot, Dr. X, is gone. He was 36% last year, which is adequate. He's at 30% this year, which is god-awful. Now it's a bad shot, okay? If you're shooting 30, it's a bad shot. He's playing 2 fewer minutes and taking 2.5 fewer shots. However, 2.5 fewer shots and 2 fewer minutes does not compute to a 4-point-per-game dip, okay? There's a lot of other stuff going on here. OKC's going to figure this out. I'm with AM. I'm not panicking. It's not DEFCON 1. They're in a little bit of a lull right now. But as I've said, and I'm going to say it again, Spurs, Knicks, finals. That's where I'm at right now. As long as Wemby's healthy. Spurs, Knicks, finals. Yes, I have the Spurs beating OKC. So Dr. X, back to you here. In terms of the torn ligament, the right wrist surgery, and Jaylen Williams struggling with his shot, was this all to be expected? Are you a little bit surprised by this? Do you think he can right this as the season goes along, or what?
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about the injury being the reason for his play. I think it's what AM said. I think it's just rhythm, just getting back into the groove of things. Also, the long the short off season because of a long season previously, winning it all. And I think he's just getting back in his rhythm. I wouldn't be concerned about it. I don't think he was that great of a shooter from three anyway. I think as a team as a whole, they're lacking. But with the wrist surgery that he had, the thing that you're really worried about is something called slack wrist. That's more of a long-term thing, and I don't think they would let him play if he was having that issue. And I don't think it's coming into effect right now. I think it's something that you'll look into his career later, like to see if the wrist injury comes up again for that same exact wrist. So that's something to keep an eye on for the long term. It may affect his how many years he plays in the league. Maybe he doesn't play, 20 years in the league. Maybe he plays 13 to 14 years in the league because of that wrist injury. But I think for right now, I don't think they would allow him to play. And I think he is playing. I'm not sure if they had any back to backs, but I think he is still playing back to backs, right? If I'm sure that'd be
Yes.
pretty hard to look up right now. So yeah, he's not missing things like that. And I'm sure he would be in contact with the staff to say, hey, I'm having issues, it's a flare up, things like that. So the fact that he's not skipping any back to back games says to me that his injury has recovered and he took the appropriate time off.
I love it. Dr. X with the breakdown. That's encouraging. It really is. So I think I may be kind of manufacturing some worry over here. But I was right in fantasy basketball to fade Jaylen
Yeah.
Williams, at least so far. At least so far. But I was wrong to get all up into AM's grill about taking Jokic over Wemby. AM, I was wrong about that. I give you that one, bro. I do give you that one. All right, let's move on here. Guys, the Boston Celtics. Like, I came up a Showtime Laker fan, right? Hating Bird, like respecting. I shouldn't, hate's a strong word, right? But like as a teenager and stuff, I'm like, I don't like Bird. I'm a Magic guy. Anyway, so like, I've never like rooted for Boston. You know what I mean? Because it's always kind of, even though I'm not a Laker fan anymore, it's just like, I can't root for those dudes, man. But you know what?
Yeah.
I really like this Boston team, man. It ain't about Boston or Celtics or Green. It's about the guys, right? I like this team, man. Okay, so let's talk about Boston a little bit here. AM, you go first on this. Has Boston made it a 3-team race in the Eastern Conference? Go.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely have. Absolutely. No, look, Jaylen Brown is of course at this point now top 5, top 6 MVP, depending on the conversation you want to have or the argument we all want to make. So he's playing just beyond. There is this threat that Tatum is still going to come back this year sometime in March or April and kind of work his way back into the rotation, be ready for playoffs and give you some sort of minutes. So there alone is important. But they, like you said, man, the 3-ball, and we talked about them before, like they figured it out. Missoula's figured it out on the percentages to win games and play just enough defense to win on the other side. Their 4 guards are playing phenomenal, and I love Simons. Simons was such a big, sexy pick as the 6th man of the year, the coming off the bench guy prior to the year beginning. He came out a little bit slow in those first 6 weeks, but since then has really turned it on. He is, really a top 2 leading guy for 6th man of the year. So like across the board, you got White, you got Pritchard playing well. Obviously Brown, he can slot in as the small forward if you need him. But like across the board, they just have the guys getting it done at the guard position. They're hoisting up the threes and they're putting themselves in a good position night after night to win 2 out of every 3 games that they play. So yeah, they're absolutely in this equation. They're in the conversation.
So I ask, and Doc, I'll come to you next. And I'm going to go here. Yes is the answer for me. 1 month ago, okay, I looked at the East as a 2-team conference. That's it. Knicks, Pistons, nobody else need apply. That includes Orlando and Cleveland and at the time, Boston, right? Boston was like decent. They were like afloat, but they weren't surging yet, right? So I looked at it's New York and Detroit. They're on a collision course for the Eastern Conference Finals, all this kind of stuff. Boston has changed that for me. Now I look at this as a 3-team race, okay? And no, hell no, it's not Cleveland, okay? Ugh, give me a break. I'm so over the Cavaliers right now. How can you be mid with that roster? What the bleep, man? And I know they've had some injuries. pretty much every team in the league's had some injuries, man. How are you that mid with Donovan Mitchell having the best year of his career? Blah, blah, blah. I could go on for days. The Celtics leapfrogged the Knicks into second place on Monday night. Earmuffs, Doc, and AM. And I'm not taunting, just saying. And that's with no Tatum, no Drew Holiday, no Kristaps Porzingis, playing guys like Kada and Walsh and Garza and Hugo and Shireman. Okay? Most NBA fans are like, is that a law firm? What is that, dude? You mentioned Jaylen Brown's a core MVP candidate. Derek White's shooting has been awful. However, he's career high in points, assists, and steals. Payton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. He's taken his game to another level as a starter. He's been killing it. Anthony Simons, he had like a 28-point second half the other night. Okay, he's killing it off the bench, shooting almost 40% on threes. Now, this is what really matters. Boston has the second best defense in basketball behind only OKC. Oh, that's their secret sauce, guys. That and the three ball. They're second only to Golden State in 3-point attempts and 3-point makes. Only the mid-ass Golden State Warriors fire more three balls than the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are 10th in field goal percentage. And get this, guys, another little secret sauce of the Celtics. They're number one in the league in fewest turnovers at 10.2 per game. So they're D'ing you up. They're not giving the ball away. They're making a million threes. They've got an MVP candidate. And Joe Mazzulla is just beautifully coaching this team with all these different dudes, man. So I'm into it. And you guys know I love Joe Mazzulla. Like, I freaking love how strange and genius Joe Mazzulla is. I mean, this young dude came in, remember in controversy with the Ime Udoka thing. Man, we're good. How many coaches could pull that off in Boston with all those expectations? You guys, Joe Mazzulla is special, really special. All right, Dr. X, you're up here. Has Boston made it a 3-team race in the Eastern Conference?
Out of respect for how other teams have been playing, I don't even think it's a 3-team race. I think it's really a 5-team race. And that goes with, I would say, the top of the top right now. And I hate to say it is Detroit, but they've run across some teams that are more of a challenge, and they've proven, that they're up for the challenge. Plus, they've had guys out. Their second best player was out, and they just blew the Knicks out by 30. Their bench players have dogs. And I think the Detroit Pistons and the Celtics, they both have what I would say the culture is built to play hard, play good defense, and to never give up. I thought the Knicks had that, and they do technically because they've shown it already. But I think both of those teams have the dog in them. Now, the other two teams that I wouldn't summarily dismiss would be, number one, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know you're going to say they don't have a dog in them, but to their defense, they're still a good team. And they're pretty much one trade away. That team is one trade away, as well as a team. I think Philly looks dangerous, but it's really about Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid just literally shows up after missing time, and he's like 25 and 13 easily. And I just like how they're developing the other guys in VJ Edgecombe. The way they beat the Knicks pretty badly was something that you can't take lightly. And Paul George is just kind of like, I'll chip in here and there, kind of doing a Mikal Bridges impersonation. He'll hit a couple threes, he'll defend. And honestly speaking, if that's what you're going to get from George when you have Tyrese Maxey playing the way he is, you can't dismiss a team like that either. So you never know who any of these teams could get. The way people are talking about trading a Tobias Harris to get AD, you never really know. So there's numbers that could work. You never know. GMs could just be giving up because some of the stuff they're throwing out there is like, you really know, you don't. AD on any East Coast team right now changes the landscape. But currently, right now, I think it's really a 5-team race. I think it's Detroit. I think it's the Knicks. And then, the Celtics, the big if about the Celtics is literally Jason Tatum. But the Celtics is all about culture too. They have built this culture really from Ime Udoka, and then when Joe Mazzulla took off, they never skipped a beat. And so, as you guys are bringing up, the people they added have only helped out. And people that they've developed have been people who have been pretty solid. So all in all, I think it's a 5-team race, and it's going to be, whoever's in the right rhythm when it comes time to playoff time.
Doc, may I ask a question, Rick, if I may? You mentioned a 5-team race. What do you think about Toronto? We've talked about them previously and their staying power. Like, we're not throwing them in the mix?
I'm not throwing in Toronto. I think Brandon Ingram just got injured, which I was expecting. And then their big Pirtle hasn't come back from injury, and looks like he has a back injury. I think injuries are going to do him in, and even they have to have everybody to be competitive. But they're literally one trade away. If they get an AD, but he's also one injury away from being absent. So I like I would say I'd put Toronto in the spoiler category along with the Atlanta Hawks. I think those are and the Orlando Magic. I think those are spoiler teams. So if you don't come with your A game, they could pretty much knock you out. But I don't put them as the favorites. I think the favorites would be the Knicks, Detroit. I think Cleveland ran into a bad matchup and didn't have guys healthy. They kind of took it for granted, guys not showing up for playoff games with injuries that they could have probably played with, did them in last year. But I don't think we should dismiss them. And I think a team like Detroit, um, and Philly is built well on paper. And if those guys show up and you have McCain developing, you have Grimes doing well, they have a pretty deep bench. They just got back their guy that was missing for a while. I forgot his name now, but a wing player, but really good defensive player. So they have a deep bench. Like they go pretty deep. So I would say don't dismiss the 76ers as well.
Detroit basketball. And again, I'm not a fan. We got Rick Mahorn coming up in about 15 minutes. Yes, the original bad boy, Rick Mahorn, will join your guys on Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Just quickly on Embiid, Doc and AM. Did you guys see the game that Joel Embiid played like in Skechers with no socks? Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
what were you thinking when Embiid not wearing socks or no ankle tape or anything? What was that?
I don't know.
I often ask that question with Embiid, like everything, right? Like that. Like what Embiid? What are you doing every third week? You are the enigma of the NBA across the board, man. But you are a personality. But yeah, I saw that. That was hysterical. Doc, what'd you think?
Yeah. I mean, I thought personally it was probably some Skechers thing. They were trying to show that slip-ons or whatever work are healthy or good for people to wear better than other sneakers. I don't know. I just felt like, maybe the equipment manager messed up and they just tried to play it off. But I thought it was like I thought it was either AI or it was like some prank or something, like it wasn't real. But hey. It is what it is.
I saw Captain Jack and Matt Barnes talking about it on the All the Smoke podcast. It was hilarious. Stack was getting him. Stack was getting him. Stack wasn't into it, man. He's like, come on, man. Like you're just going through the motions out there if you're not wearing socks. But Doc, to your point, Joel Embiid looks awful to me. And I'm not saying weight-wise, conditioning-wise. His movements. The other night, guys, he had a ball right under the basket, okay? That needs to be a thunder dunk where you go, and you yank on the rim and the stanchion's moving for the next 3 minutes, right? Okay? He, dropped it in the hoop. No dunk. It was just, went up and, I was like, dude. So he's the second most skilled center of all time, in my opinion, behind Jokic, and that's what's going to get him through here. But his body movements look so awkward and slow, and he's slow to get back. Anyway, but God bless him, man. He's back, he's playing, but I nitpick, and I also digress. All right, Horn coming up right around the corner here. Doc, let's fire this up. You're going to go first. I want our great producer, Jason Arambulo, and our video director, Kai Josephson, please play the video of Russell Westbrook dropping the gate on Ryan Rollins. Now, this was at the end of a recent game. Milwaukee is smacking Sacramento. You can see 30 seconds left. It's a blowout. And you got Rollins here going for a bucket and just gets destroyed by Russell Westbrook. And as you will see here, Ryan Rollins, you can see it already. The red on his forehead going all the way down below his eye to his cheek. And then you can see here Russ and Rollins continue to talk as Rollins is at the free throw line. So, Doc, you go first here. The question is, late game unwritten rule. Is it getting out of hand?
I think it's definitely getting out of hand if it leads to an injury or guys are trying to really injure a player or maybe they try to undercut them or low bridge them for a layup. I think Giannis landed pretty awkwardly on one of the dunks he tried to do at the end. I just don't like guys trying to police the game and trying to show that there's some honor to the game. And I need you to play that hard in the beginning of the game so it's not an issue at the end of the game. And I get it. I know about the unwritten rules, but if guys are gonna get hurt or there's a fight gonna be started, like just keep that same energy during the game. And so that, if there's other players playing for other things, this is a business. There's guys that are finally getting in at the end of the game and they have to put up numbers or show that they're growing in the game and not just in G League games. So they have an opportunity here to play the NBA game. And if the game is a blowout, just let them play till the buzzer ends. I don't. Now, if you want to play that role, I think it's really about the team that's blowing out the other team. Maybe if you're home or something like that, or maybe if it was close and then it's just one possession. But no one should be trying to hurt anybody. And I just felt like Russell Westbrook overreacted in that case. And thank God it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I think Rollins just bruises a little easily. I saw him play yesterday. It wasn't a black eye. I'm not sure if they put makeup on it or something like that, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse. It was extending literally from his hairline all the way down here, and it was like red. And but it's not there anymore. So, but it wasn't cool in my estimation. I think he should have been at least a flagrant 2 or flagrant 1, whatever it was. It was literally hit above the neck, and it was something that I felt should have been punished.
I love the takes, Doc. I do. And look, you guys know I love Russell Westbrook. Okay, it doesn't mean I agree with everything that he does. You know what I mean? Like, I love Dylan Brooks, but I didn't like him breaking Gary Payton II's bones, right, or wrist or whatever he broke. Pardon me, on that dirty play. I don't like that stuff, but I do like these guys, the totality. So is the late game unwritten rule getting out of hand? You're damn right it is. Russell Westbrook, guys, he's always been kind of a sore loser, okay? And he's always had some dirty to him. Yes, let's call it what it is. He's not nearly as dirty as Chris Paul or John Stockton, okay? But Westbrook can kind of snap on you and turn into a football player, and that rage comes out a little bit, okay? I don't like that. I don't condone it. I wish he would have just fouled Rollins, right? Just foul. Like a dig down on the hands and the ball's knocked away, he goes to the free throw line for 2 free throws, right? But to meet him high, and I'm not saying Russ was trying to hurt him, but Russ was trying to send a very, very, very loud and painful message. Not on my watch, okay? But Doc, like you said, where is that the first 47? It's part of the package that you get with Westbrook, though. The fire, the competitiveness, the intensity, the rage, that's all in Russ, okay? And that stuff makes him the player that he is, the great player, the all-time great player that he is. Without that stuff, he's not as great as Russell Westbrook is. So the unwritten rule, guys, that at the end of the game, you're supposed to just dribble it out, take a turnover, hand the ball to the ref, okay, all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, cool. If you don't want to do that and you want to play defense and try to get buckets until zeros are on the clock, I'm cool with that too. This is my biggest pet peeve in basketball right now, guys. My number one pet peeve. Do not get butthurt when the other team scores when you let your guard down in the closing seconds. And do not get butthurt when you try to score in the closing seconds and you get fouled by the other team. Again, Russ went too far here, but still, you're Ryan Rollins, you're up 15 or 17 or whatever, and you're going baseline for a meaningless basket. That's going to piss some dudes off. I wish it didn't. I don't think it should get you where it gets people, but it does. All right. Do you guys remember the Giannis Antetokounmpo windmill recently in the closing seconds against the Chicago Bulls? Right. He goes in, dunks it, and all the Bulls start freaking out. Right. Vucevic and all these guys start running out like they're going to fight. Right. Like it's a baseball game, and you hit Shohei in the head with a pitch or something, like, oh, man, everybody's out on the field right now. It's so stupid. It's so stupid to me, guys. Why didn't the Bulls fight their asses off like that, Doc, as you said, for the first 47 minutes? Giannis dunks on you. Oh, now you want to fight. But you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight. Yeah. Exactly. You just want to go out there and complain and, well, what are you doing, man? That's not what you're supposed to do, blah, 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 blah. Man, take your L, go to the locker room, and hit the club. That's what you should be thinking. You already took a 20-point L. You should be thinking about the uncy, okay? Give me a break. And it's not going to be fixed anytime soon, guys. We are stuck with this annoyance for basketball eternity. A.M. Pfeffer, is the late game unwritten rule getting out of hand?
Yeah, it's definitely getting out of hand, but I don't even understand what happened here in retrospect. Like, you talk about the Giannis windmill dunk. Okay, if you're showboating and you're showing up the other team, then you're going to get upset about it. That's fine. Or if Rollins had come in and tried some 360 dunk or some NBA Jam-esque dunk, like, okay, you get upset about it. But this was an actual basketball play, meaning wasn't it a three ball that went off the rim and the shot clock got reset to 14 seconds, and I think there was 28 seconds left in the game? He couldn't otherwise dribble it out, so he just took the ball and went in to go and score, which is what you're supposed to do, right? And I understand that they're way up. Like, you expect him to dribble it out and then hand it off to Sacramento so they could take the last second shot so somebody else could pad a stat or they dribble it out. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. Instinct took over and he did what he was supposed to do. Westbrook was like way out of hand here, and the unwritten rule is just as out of hand. This is stupid and it is annoying, and I wish it would go away.
Yeah, Rick, I think what they should do is they should just take that cup rule and just make it for the whole season for everything. Like when it comes to the standings, just make it where you have to like playing till the end matters. So the cup, no one was beefing because they know it matters with the standings. And so like in terms of point differential and things like that. So I feel like that's what people should start doing. I think the league should just add that, so there's another layer of determining whether you have to play the play-in tournament or not.
I love the point. I'm just going to add this. You got a guy like Ryan Rollins, right? Statistics really matter to Ryan Rollins. He hasn't been paid like at all. Like normal people money, yeah, he's making good money. He's not on NBA money yet. He's not making 10 million, 15 million, okay? And he's a fine young player. So the point is, he doesn't want to take a turnover. He doesn't want to hurt his stats. Oh, let's add a couple of free throws here, okay? I'm not mad at you, bro. It's a business, right? Russ would agree that it's a business. Everybody in the league would agree that it's a business. That's a business decision. I'm not hurting my stats. I'm going to go help my stats. And Ryan, I ain't mad at you. All right, guys, it is big intro time. We welcome the one, the only, Rick Mahorn, the original bad boy. Is he? Oh, they're telling me to stop. All right, I got pump faked right there. All right, I thought we had Horn. We're working on his tech right now. I got pump. Hey, Doc, give me the D-Wade pump fake right there. Give me that. I love it. All right, so they're working with Rick right now. But guys, I'm super excited for this. And obviously, all right, I can bring him on right now. We bring on, and I think we mean it this time, the original bad boy. Where's Rick? All right, I'm gonna wait until he comes on here. But this is interesting because there he is.
There he is.
You know, Jason pushing buttons and don't know where to go. What's up?
Jason, I want you to know, Rick he's always got jokes, man. He's always got jokes, so don't take that personally. Rick Mahorn, the original bad boy, 18 years in the league, my dear friend, over years and years and years. How the heck are you and the family, Rick?
Everybody's good, man. Just enjoying winning some games and enjoying being a part of the Pistons. And, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It reminds me of the old four boys or just in when I played back in the day. So it's fun. Who's these other bums you got on your
Mhm.
show?
So Rick, I just want to show you I'm rocking some old school Pistons gear for you, man. Detroit basketball. So and by the way, Rick, these are two Knicks fans right here. We have Dr. X, Dr. Phil McDonald. He's the founder, the creator, and the patriarch of this show. He's one of the top sports medicine radiologists in America. A hell of a sports analyst. That's him with the fine shirt down there in Fiji. Yeah, he's a baller that way, Rick. In upper left, we got A.M. Pfeffer, anchor businessman. He's out in our LA studios, man. So these are the homies, Rick.
Okay, well, if they're friends of yours, they're friends of mine, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So good to meet you, Rick.
I love it.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming on. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, Rick, I'll ask a question and we'll go around the room here. So these Detroit Pistons, you were talking about this, and Rick, of course, a champion with the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys back in 1989. He's currently working with Mark Champion. He's the radio play-by-play. Rick Mahorn is the game analyst on the radio side. What statement, Rick Mahorn, did your Pistons make on Monday night in that blowout win over Dr. X and AM's Knicks?
It was more of a revenge because it was a taste in the players' mouths that when they lost to them in the playoffs, they weren't at full strength, but they also felt that you could have won that series and advanced even further in the playoffs. But they came back with this attitude. I mean, guys, I'm kind of scared of them if I was still playing.
Doc, you can go ahead with the question.
I mean, the question I have is, do you think I feel looking at Detroit's roster last year that they had a better roster last year, which I think it's all about the culture that they built defensively. They got some dogs. Their bench looks a little deeper in terms of that, but I feel they lost some key players last year. But I do think if they get one more player, they might be the favorite to win it all. And do you think they need to do you think there's a trade that they should do without naming any names, or even if you want to name a name, do you think there's a trade they should do to kind of put them over the top, or do you think they're there right now, currently constructed?
Well, I mean, if you got all your ducks in a row, and I know Trajan Langdon, and they talk about it, everybody talks about a trade, what if, and what if that, what if this. A lot of times when you look at the teams in the past that won championships, my year, we traded Adrian Dantley for Mark Aguirre. Then the '04 boys, when when they won that championship, they traded for Rasheed Wallace. So I don't know. But the way that these guys are playing and the unity that they have and the cohesiveness, and they hang their hat on defense. And the fact is, not too many teams out there can play defense the way these guys are. And you think of dogs, yeah, you're thinking about the dog pound. They're playing the game like, to me, they really want to destroy you. And the fact is, they may not, some nights they may not score, but every night they hang their hat on defense.
I agree.
Rick, I got a question about the upcoming schedule for the Pistons. We've spoken about it on this show before. The West, the upcoming schedule that you got to play the West. There was an ease for you guys or the ease of the Pistons coming in and playing some of the Western teams, and they lost a few of those games, right? I mean, the Portland they beat, Lakers they beat, but there was a Dallas loss, there was a Utah loss, there was a Clippers loss, and then all of a sudden they haven't played a lot of the good teams in the West yet. Are you concerned about the Pistons having to play the West, and how do you think they match up?
The thing is scheduling. Scheduling plays a big part. We have not had a great schedule, and if I can go up to New York or where Sea Caucus, I'd probably be pissed off. But the fact is, I look at these young men and the way that they play and perform, they don't care. And the fact is, sometimes, last night we didn't have Kate Cunningham, we didn't have Tobias Harris. man, the list goes on and on. And when you look at it, when someone is hurt, the Pistons are 12-2. And a lot of times people go like, well, one time it was like 6 guys hurt. And next thing you know, you had the bench players. And I've said last night, I was talking to Bill Willingham, as I like to try to call him. I was talking to him after the game. I said it didn't seem fair that they cleared the bench and we still had guys that were basically bench guys playing as starter minutes. And next thing you know, you go like, damn, this team is deep. And the fact we may have lost some games on West Coast, and like I said, it's a lot of times deal with scheduling, and you go, okay, we got to play this team, and then after the Emirates Cup, it was like, okay, now we got to go back to Boston, then come back, and then we go on a 10-day road trip. Those things take effect because we're a young team, but they're a gritty team. JB Bickerstaff has that team really, united and knowing that next man up mentality. It's not all about Cade Cunningham, even though he is the spear, the tip of the spear. But those guys just fall in line. I've saw, Isaiah Stewart, one of the guys that I call a throwback guy. He had 31 points last night, and you go like, well, where did that come from? Then the next thing you know, you look around the corner, you have Dennis Jenkins making shots. Then you have Chaz Lanier, a guy that doesn't really play, comes in the game and hits big threes at a right time, knowing that, hey, I'm getting a chance and opportunity. This is an audition. And one thing that I like about these guys, they put their hard hat on.
One of the most famous basketball players of all time is hanging out with us. Rick Mahorn, the original bad boy on Beyond the Surface. Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, everybody knows who Rick Mahorn is, man. You have a household name, my friend.
Oh, okay. Only in my house. Go ahead.
See, he's self-deprecating too. He plays it both ways. He even trolls himself. He's talented that way. Rick, I would love to know, how would Cade Cunningham's game translate back to the 80s and 90s? You played from 81 to 99. It was 82 to 99 or something like that. But basically all the 80s, all the 90s. That was your period in the NBA. How would Cade's game translate to your era?
It all depends on what rules they let him play. If we could knock him and mug him like we did Michael Jordan, I don't know. Survival of the fittest there. But you know what? This Cade Cunningham is a throwback guy. But here's the thing. This is the most humbled superstar that I know. I had a chance to interview him earlier in the season, and I swear to you, his charisma, his charm. It's not like he's walking around up here on the cloud. I'm Cade Cunningham. You don't know me. Man, I swear it's like a guy that's a throwback to the point that you go like, dude, you can't come. He's coming over to say hi to me. I understand the respect and the admiration of the old school of throw, but it's just the fact that he takes time to go and say hello to people or a time to give them the respect. And it just makes me feel better that I've done something in this league. So when you it all depends on what rules you're playing, but the fact of the matter is he can play in that era too.
Love it. Hey Rick, I have a question. I know you probably saw The Last Dance.
Well, hold on. I thought I was on here for questions, and you up here, you got a question. Man, spit it out. Let's do it.
Yeah. So watching The Last Dance, was there anything that was screaming out of you to say, I want to add something to this, or maybe this wasn't said correctly? And a follow-up question would just be a question about Michael Jordan, like where you think he should be ranked.
Well, the first answer I have for you for The Last Dance, I ain't watched that shit. The second question, Michael has made the game. It's funny. It's funny how they do history. This is what I like. This is what I love about, when, the people are writing or talking about it. They go, Boston Celtics back to back. Then they go from Boston to the Lakers, and then next thing you know, they skip over the Pistons and the Rockets and go straight to the Jordan, the Jordan era. I think when you look at it, if we had the same technology that when we knew our phone numbers at home and not a cell phone or a pager or a beeper or whatever, or you generally talk or reading the newspaper, it's like, okay, all of a sudden Michael Jordan just steps up, even though he won championships, and it was fun. Everybody's Jordan, and then the marketing came, and next thing you know, the money started flowing in. It's an investment. Why not use Michael? But you had the Magics, you had the Hakeem Olajuwons, you had the Isaiah Thomases, but it wasn't. You look at Detroit, you go, oh, it's not a great city. It's all the history and all this crap. But when I look at it, Michael has really evolved this game to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Rick, do you think that because I always believed that it was your team that changed the NBA. The 89 was the pivotal year, and especially because of what you did to him in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Detroit wins 4-2. You go on and play in the finals, but that was it. That was the moment his switch flipped, and he had to get stronger, and he had to become the guy. I mean, aren't the 1989 Pistons responsible for the next 20 to 40 years of the NBA? Do you agree with that? Because that's how I feel about you guys.
I mean, if I want to agree with it, I could be selfish and say, yeah. But you know what? I look at this game and the way that it evolved from the Jordans to the Currys to the LeBrons. It to me. I look at it and say, who's going to take the mantle next? You got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You got the Joker. People are really into the game more so now than back then, because we weren't on cable or whatever. We were on regular TV. I remember growing up watching the Boston Celtics, who I hate. I was a Knicks fan. My favorite was Willis Reed, number 19, and Clyde Frazier and Earl of Pearl Monroe. That was my team. Those were the teams that I was used to seeing because they were on TV. But when I look at it now, it's so much exposure, worldwide exposure, where now the world is starting. The Giannis is. This is, it connects the world to what basketball is today. So I look at it and I go, okay, what's next? I mean, the rules even changed. We did. I got a question for you guys. When was the 3-pointer implemented in the NBA?
79-80, I believe, Rick.
You sure?
That was when I was born.
See,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was 70. I'm gonna. That's my final answer. I'm gonna say 79-80.
I want you to Google it. You could go ahead and Google it. But when I look at it, remember when it was the ABA and the NBA?
Yeah.
ABA had the 3-pointer. And all of a sudden, once the merger came, they incorporated some of their rules in there. But the 3-pointer wasn't as prevalent as it is today. Because the only time you took that shot was in desperation, not all the time. Where you see, like, Dale Curry would shoot that ball, but it would be like maybe three threes that he would shoot. Or Dale Ellis, I used to call him Machine Gun, he would shoot those threes. So when I look at it, the Larry Birds, it wasn't 79-80. It was a little bit before that. Make sure you got a computer next to you, Rick. Go ahead and Google it.
I did. I just it's 79-80. I was right. I nailed that one. It was 79-80.
The NBA. Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it.
What that deal was? The NBA and the ABA were like, I mean, it was oil and water. It was battles and lawsuits and all this kind of stuff. So I think the NBA was just hating. The NBA, of course, should have adopted a 3-point shot in 77 or 76, 77, the merger. But they waited like 3 years. I just think they were hating on the ABA. Rick, go ahead.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. What about the dunk? Remember, it was the finger roll. That's where you saw Wilt Chamberlain could dominate a game, but it wasn't a fair advantage for the others. So they disbarred it. I didn't look when I was in college. I was like, I couldn't dunk my first year, but we could dunk the next year. So when I'm looking at it, going like, if they Willis, I mean, not Willis Reed, but Chamberlain could have destroyed this league when you look at it the way that they, or
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could have destroyed this league. Then you go like, man, they ain't had a dunk. That's where, Jabbar got the hook shot and all these things. A lot of things change. I like the evolution of basketball. I'm a historian.
Yeah.
I love it. If you can look in behind you, they got all the books, so I can really enjoy what it was all about. Mm, mm, mm.
Can we talk about something important here that you just brought up? You're a
What's
Hartford
that?
guy, right? In Connecticut. You're right.
Yep.
Like Fairfield is southern Connecticut. You know those are Knicks fans down there. But you're telling me that you grew up a Knicks fans in Hartford, where everybody else leans Boston. I mean, I loved you before, but all of a sudden you were my guy.
No, because it was always divided. It's the Yankees or the Red Sox,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it was the Giants, or it was the Patriots. I always went with to me, I went with the underdogs, because every time you hear about the Boston Celtics, I remember hearing Tommy Heinsohn and with his gravel voice, and
Yeah.
Dave. I couldn't, it's like, until this day, I don't like Boston. I mean, only thing I like in Boston is the Boston clam chowder, because I like the chowder. That's about it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Can I tell you a quick Heinsohn story? Rick, early in my NBA TV career, I'm like year 2, year 3. I'm still green and figuring everything out, and I'm the fantasy guy. But they were throwing some hosting stuff at me to see if I could sink or swim. And I did a 2-way with Tommy Heinsohn from Madison Square Garden in advance of a Knicks and Celtics game. And I can't remember the question, but Heinsohn hated the question. He said, "Well, if you're asking that, then you're a loser." He called me a loser on NBA TV, and I was able to work like 15 more years with them. I'll never forget it, dude. It was maybe one of the most professional moments of my life, because I mean, Tommy Heinsohn just called me a loser. I'm still kind of worried. Am I good enough to even do this? My bosses are watching. I'm like, oh my God, I just got fired. Tommy Heinsohn called me a loser. But we continued with the interview.
God.
And that's exactly how he said it. Well, if you think that, you're a loser. Because they don't say R. They don't say the R. You mentioned, Rick, that you're a historian. Give me your top 5 tough guys in NBA history, no particular order.
No particular order. Let's see. Well, of course, I'm gonna bring my hero in there, Willis Reed. Nobody messed with him.
Let's go.
Bob Lanier, and I would look at Bob. I remember Wes Unseld, and Wes Unseld is included in that as well, because Wes, I mean, for a guy that was only 6'6" to be dominant, and the only 2 people have achieved the feat of being Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player of the Year, and that was Wes Unseld. The other one was Wilt Chamberlain. So when I look at it, can I give you 10, or can you 10?
Yeah. No, let's go 10.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do a big list.
So other than Bob Lanier, you had Wilt to still. I look at it like, okay. I look at my one of my friends, Oakley. I look at Oakley the way that we had to come in from a historically black college to establish ourselves. The same with Willis Reed, and even Earl of Pearl. But I look at Maurice Lucas, bless his soul. I was scared of him. If he'd have hit me, I would have been like, oh, nah, I ain't playing now. I remember him and Daryl Dawkins going at it. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want none of him. But Wes Unseld told me my second year in the league, he said, don't look at his feet. If you look at Bob Lanier's feet, he's going to punch you. Because you're so curious that he's got these 22s and they're twisted, and you go like, man, that's a canvas sneaker. Oh Lord, you go like, and I'm playing defense like this. Don't want to look, but then you go Lonnie Shelton. Oh my gosh, you bring in some artist Gilmore. It was so many, strong guys that you go, not necessarily strong, tough guys that you ain't want to deal with. I mean, Nate Thurman. I mean, I just can go on. The list is endless, because a lot of guys you want to see that, and a lot of people want to watch your show will not even, not even, like when I said Nate Thurman, nobody even knows that. They go, okay, Nate Thurman, what did he do? Al Attles was for a guard, Al Addles. Oh my gosh. What do they call him? They call
The Destroyer. The
the
Destroyer.
Destroyer. It's like where you get these names to destroy. He was and every time I saw him, every time we would go to Golden State and he'd be walking around, and I just like a kid in a candy store because he went to another historically black college, and you go like, man, I look at that and look at that the history that we had as players in the CIAA. We weren't taking too much shit from nobody. So that's what I look at, somebody that they ain't gonna mess with Oakley, they ain't gonna mess with Rick Mahorn. But you show respect because you go like Alani Shelton when he had Buck Williams running up in the Cleveland Coliseum back then, back in Richfield. They had a fight, and Buck Williams had to run from the floor all the way up to the concourse to get away from Lonnie Shelton. So I go like, oh wow. So I stayed in my lane. Trust me, I stayed in my lane, Phil.
Sheesh.
And look, that's like you guys walking up to try to fight me. I'd have kicked your ass, but still, it was like I ain't messing with Rick Mahorn.
Question. Oh, that is awesome. All right, Willis Reed, Bob Lanier, Wes Unseld, Wilt Chamberlain, Charles Oakley, Maurice Lucas, Lonnie Shelton, Artis Gilmore, Nate Thurman, Al Addles, and Rick Mahorn. That's 11. Okay, the toughest guys of all time is told by Rick Mahorn. That is absolutely fantastic.
Hold on. I got one more.
Ooh.
And it's a modern day player right now, and he's on the Pistons. Isaiah Stewart he's a throwback.
I like it.
I got on the plane one day, after a game, I got on the plane, and I think JB Bickerstaff, Luke Walton, and Sid, they were all talking about what if Rick and Stu went at it. Oh man, I'd love to see that. I was like, I walked right by him. I said, y'all love to see that, but I'd love to see my ass back in the back. I'm going back here. Y'all go ahead and discuss that yourselves.
Hey, I have a funny question for you here, Rick, and this is pop-up. It's not even in the rundown. I got a problem with Draymond Green.
Hold on. You had a rundown?
Yeah, we got a rundown. It's a show, dude. Yeah, how I roll.
You got it, but I didn't get it.
Well, but you kind of did. I asked you the question in the text about anyway. So Draymond Green, Rick, Draymond Green's bullying Colin Gillespie. Draymond Green is mocking Jordan Poole on his show. Okay, this is fake tough guy bull crap. Okay, I agree with you. Isaiah Stewart wants a continent of smoke. Okay, to me, Draymond Green, he wants it all. What happens if Isaiah Stewart starts messing with Draymond? Does Draymond meet fire with fire, or does Draymond, Steve Kerr, come help me? This is above my pay grade.
Hey, this is the thing that I look at. I look at guys and say, and I saw the Pistons the other day against the Knicks, and the Knicks didn't want no part of what the Pistons were bringing, and I was always, and I'm always curious, who would I want to get, who would I get in a fight with on the Knicks? I wouldn't fight Jalen Brunson because I would, because I have respect for Rick Brunson, and me and Rick are pretty good friends, so I'm just looking at the team, maybe Josh Hart, or and then I just keep looking, and I'm going like, that's it, just two. But I don't think anybody really wants to mess with Stu. Stu wants to smoke, but the whole team, as a unit, they want that smoke because they know that if you're gonna fight fire with fire, well, you better bring it.
So one more, and then we'll go to Doc and AM. Can you please give us a Dennis Rodman story, Rick Mahorn?
See, I didn't play. I played with the Worm back in the day, and the only thing that it wasn't really any kind of stories. He was just so young and so energetic. But it's like when he got his jersey retired, if you look at it at the end, and he turns around and he says, I ain't your Rick Mahorn, I ain't your bitch. And that's like, well, okay. But I used to always tell him because he would, we'd be in practice, him and Sally, rookies and stuff, be trying to, they wanted to, we always had to play for our minutes. And I wasn't letting them get any of my minutes because I would always call them, you are y'all my bees. And so when that happened, that's the only story that I can really think of that's not the Dennis Rodman later. The Worm stories are now, because he started to evolve as this defensive whiz, this guy that can get rebounds, block shots. But in the beginning, he was learning how to do that. But then he learned how to use his marketability as that player that can do odd things. And till this day, every time I see him, it's like, okay, he's still Worm to me, but everybody knows that's Rodman.
Yep.
You guys have one more? Pardon me, Doc and AM. You guys got one more?
Doc, please.
You go, AM.
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you spent a little time over in Rome for a bit. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your experience over there, what it was like, just kind of being in exile and then coming back.
No, it was, I wanted $1 million. I wanted to, play with Philly another year, but I got this great opportunity to play over in Rome. And when I got there, I played with a guy named Dino Raja. And Dino Raja and I we were like two peas in a pod. It was like we would play the game. He always thought, I can be in the NBA and blah blah blah, which he did eventually. After I left from there, the food was excellent. The atmosphere was beautiful. I had two beautiful children over there. I just thought it was the greatest, just to enjoy the food, but also the relaxation of playing one game or maybe two games a week. It was just amazing to be in places that you read about in your books, going to see the Coliseum, going walking around the streets, the Spanish Steps, just going to see history. And that's what, that one year I was there before I came back to the Nets. It was beautiful. It's no real stories that, no crazy, nutty stories that I did over there, but it was just a lot of affection and everybody would ask me, "Oh, your daughter was born there." And say, "Oh, she's a Roman. It was that rough voice, and it was beautiful."
I love it.
Love it.
I love it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hey, shout out for having your Hampton jersey behind you. I'm also from the HBCU as well, Oakwood University,
What school?
Huntsville, Alabama. Oakwood University or Oakwood College. That's in
Oh,
Huntsville,
okay.
Alabama.
Well,
Yeah. But
that's
I'm
what I'm
actually from
talking
Mount
about.
Vernon, New
But
York.
you went all the way down there. What was wrong with you?
Man, it was an institution that was associated with my religion called Seventh-day Adventist. So we're a Seventh-day Adventist. It was a Seventh-day
Oh, okay.
Adventist
I
institution.
got you.
And so that was
I
one of
got you.
yeah. But I also went to
I
UConn
got you.
medical school in Farmington. So I was often in Hartford. There was also a church right there too.
Listen, my UConn story. I hate that school.
Why? Oh, wait. Did you guys play them?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
It was a coach named D. Rowe that was there before Calhoun got there, and he told me as a senior in high school, it had four guys that were on my team. We went to the state finals and lost to Lehigh University. They had Sly Williams, but that was my first year playing basketball. And he told us while we're sitting there meeting if he was trying to recruit, he said we couldn't play on his team.
Mm.
So
Did
when he
he say
said
why?
that, no, it was like he had an arrogance. We're young, I'm 17 and we're young guys and UConn's coming to, talk to us or they're, not recruit us, but talk to us because we had some good players on our team. We had a couple all-state guys, George Shorty Davis, and I made all city and stuff like that. But it was the fact that he came in there with that arrogance, and it was like, I can't stand UConn.
And now, which player in UConn during that time was Cliff Robinson on that team or on that, or he
No,
was before or after?
he was after because I used to go up to UConn and play pickup when I was in the NBA, and that's when I got to know Uncle Cliffy. Got to know him, and he was from Buffalo. So Uncle Cliffy and we would go at it with the Patriots and his Buffalo Bills, and until his dad missed him dearly. But Uncle Cliffy was funny, man. We had a good time. But that's when Coach Calhoun was there, and he invited us
Yep.
because I think he invited us up there. I drive up 40 minutes to get to UConn, and we would play. And it was a lot of fun to play there, but I couldn't stand UConn before they got, Coach Calhoun.
Yeah, Calhoun was the man.
One last question for you here, Rick, at least from me. Can you give us a story that lets our audience and takes them like inside the competitiveness of Isaiah Thomas? Can you give us a story that kind of amplifies that?
Man, let me tell you something. We would be playing cards or whatever game we were playing. He wouldn't stop until he won. It was like, and it was like, dude, you lost. You just get over there on the side. Nope, we're gonna play again. It was his competitive nature. It got to the point sometimes it's like I ain't playing. I don't want to play. Isaiah playing. I ain't playing. But it was the fact that he was just so uber competitive, not just playing cards. If we're playing, just blackjack, he just wanted to win whatever it is. We're playing one on one or we're playing, shooting game. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So that made a habit of what we were all about back in 88 and 89, because I thought we should have won that championship before against the Lakers, but I guess the league felt like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got fouled, and we're still waiting to see who got fouled. But it's all good. It's all good. May David Stern rest in peace.
Hey, Rick, Isaiah told me one time, he said back in the day, he said it was the off season and he was training in LA on the beach, and he was running the beaches, and it was him and his wife. And he said it was a hot LA day, and he's running and running and running, and he said he was gassed out, sweat coming out of every pore, and gasping for air. And he goes over and has like a drink of water or something, and his wife, he told me the story. He goes, his wife said to him, Danny Ainge would go do another one. And Isaiah said, so I went back out there and I was running up the beach for 15 more minutes. His wife said Danny Ainge would do another one. Does that sound on point or what?
Oh, that's on. Listen, that describes him all day. And he's back up in Michigan now. And the fact is, we're all on a group text, and it's like, I said, I still owe you an ass whooping because he hit me, and he's like, oh, Horn, I was so sorry, man. I don't know what was going, because we were beating him when I was with Philly with Barkley, and we beating him up here in the Palace. And that's when I held the ball over my head, and he kept, trying to swing and hit me. And I'm like, dude, don't you know I'd destroy you? But he every time he said, I apologize. I said, I still owe you an ass whooping. Don't think you didn't get in the way.
Rick, you're the absolute best. I love you, Horn. I love you, my man. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thanks, HBCU in the house, and I
yes,
ain't mad at that Connecticut. I just want to go back there and get me a pizza and a grinder, not no doggone sub. I want a grinder. I want an oven brick grinder, and then get some clam chowder, and I'm good.
Big facts.
Rick, safe travels, man, and good luck to your Pistons. We'd love to circle back with you in a couple of months and get you back on and have some more fun if that's okay.
Hey, look, Rick, if it's you, you my man, Slick Rick. You know how we do. So when you
Yes, sir.
text me, I was like, Rick, okay, man, come on, man. That'd be my pleasure to come on with you guys. But I ain't
Appreciate
wearing
it.
that shirt.
Yes, sir.
I ain't wearing this shirt like that.
Detroit basketball.
Okay. Now, hey, when
Fiji,
you get
man.
finished with
Fiji.
that, man, burn that shirt. You ain't going to throw these black collars.
It's
Let me ask
Fiji,
you this:
man. It's Fiji.
if you would have wore that on the yard, they'd have beat your ass.
Hey, man.
Rick,
I'm just a New Yorker
this
in
is
Fiji, man. That's
hey,
it.
hey, look. That's when you got money. You could go with this shirt. Oh, my dog's barking. I'm sorry, gotta go.
All right, Horn, love you, man.
Nice.
Thank you, Rick.
Peace,
Thank you,
man.
brother.
Great to meet you.
Oh man, you guys, let's go,
good.
man. Let's go.
Too good.
That was good.
Let's
That was
go.
good.
He's awesome.
Tears are on my cheeks. You guys, so he would, I hosted NBA radio with Antonio Daniels, right? AD traveling a lot with the Pelicans. So I'd work with Reggie Theus. I'd work with Mitch Lawrence, who we're having on Monday. I'd work with Rick Mahorn and all these great guys, right? Always got fired up for a Rick Mahorn show because I knew it was a 3-hour show. It was going to be 3.5 hours of ball busting. And here's what I mean by that. The 15 minutes before the show, literally, like whoever the producer was I mean, I'm trying to be funny here. I was going to use some words but anyway, he is one of the great ball busters I've ever met in my life. And here's the thing, and you guys probably know this. If Rick Mahorn's busting your balls, it means he F's with you and he likes you. Do you know what I'm saying? He's that type of guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Not the
shirt catching straight. Correa, you rock out there. Happy New Year to Correa and all of our great audience members here. And Beyond the Surface. Woo! That was incredible, man. The great Rick Mahorn, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. Pfeffer, you first on this, dude. Who won the Kevin Durant trade? Houston or Phoenix? The setup's brief here, okay? You had Durant hitting the game-winning shot on Monday to beat his former team in Houston, and after the game, awesome, Durant was charmingly petty. If you guys have that sound, maybe we could run that. Do you guys have the Durant sound? But anyway, he was like, I'll read it to you. He said, I don't mean to sound too dramatic, but I will. To be kicked out of a place, I felt like I'd been scapegoated for the issues we had as a team last year. Yeah, it felt good to beat them and hit a game-winning shot. Okay, so we're halfway through basically this season after this trade. Pfeffer, who won the Kevin Durant trade?
It's a good question. I think overall Phoenix has won the trade. They really have. You know, in the long run, Dillon Brooks is changing the culture of that team and brought them to a place where they're actually a top 6 team in the West right now. And they're well above 500. They were one of my original 500 club teams that we talked about, I think, on the second show that we ever did. And they were worth watching. And I like the fact that you get guys like O'Neal and Gillespie and Williams have stepped up and been able to shine now that Kevin Durant is off the team. Phoenix is an entirely different ball club right now. I think Green's played, 2 games, and we'll see where he fits in ultimately after this trade. And if he really shines and becomes like that 3rd or 4th guy, then you're talking about an absolute steal for the Suns on this. But Dillon Brooks is a great player. I think we all really like Dillon Brooks, what he brings to the table, but he just brings a certain attitude and energy that has changed the culture of that team. He's an alpha man. He's a dog, and Phoenix is in a good position. I mean, you know, Ime Udoka is my favorite coach in the league. I never worried about Houston, whether Durant was going to be on that team or not. And it was the right thing for them to bring Durant in. But Phoenix is way better than I think a lot of people expected them to be.
Dr. X, who won the Kevin Durant trade?
I think when you think of who won a trade, you automatically have to think about specifically who's closer to winning the championship. And I think Houston was the one that probably initiated that trade because Jaylen Green wasn't getting it done. Now, unfortunately, they had to lose a player like Dillon Brooks, but honestly speaking, I don't think Phoenix is any closer to winning the championship. I just think they are probably, you know, achieving something that we probably overachieving what we thought they would do. But it's nice to see that Phoenix has some more building blocks and they built a culture that is respectable, and maybe they can just add a couple more pieces. Eventually, they'll be in the running. But I'm not taking them in a 7-game series with any of the top West teams, whether that includes Denver, the Spurs, OKC. But I would take Houston. I think Houston has a chance to win it all. So I think based off of that, Houston technically won it, and they finally have a closer in Kevin Durant. I do like what Phoenix is building, but I think this is where you could say both teams won if you look at it, depending on which lens you put it on. I think Phoenix was struggling to have an identity prior to having Dylan Brooks, and to what AM is saying, who knows what Jalen Green will add to that, seeing that you already have a closer in Devin Booker. And so I think Jalen Green will be a very dangerous player with that said.
I can't wait to get Jalen Green back. I've got him in the Cam Dynasty. He's just been chilling on IR all year. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I'm still in first place.
Rhett, you're actually killing me right now, Rick. It's 11-0. I don't know what's going on. Both of you guys killed me in this fantasy matchup.
More to come, Doc. Don't worry. I can't wait till we play another game.
Dude, I'm gonna have to start taking guys out of my lineup, man. I ain't trying to wreck shop like that on you, Doc.
Well, you actually owe me one, because I think I was the one that handed you like a 10-1 blowout. So you probably,
that was week 1, right? Wasn't that week 1?
Yeah.
Wasn't that week 1?
Yeah, I sent you down to the bottom of the standings. Yeah. I've
been digging out of that hole all year, Doc. Okay, fine. I'm putting everybody, all chips in the middle of the table. All right, you changed my mind. Okay, guys, here's what matters in terms of the trade. Houston traded Dylan Brooks, Jaylen Green, Common Maluach, don't forget that, right? 10th pick in the draft, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2032 second-round pick if zombies aren't on planet Earth at that point. The Suns also got Rasheer Fleming from the Timberwolves. The Rockets got 2 guys, Kevin Durant and Clint Capella. So that's the trade, right? To me, the Suns won this trade, but Doc, you're not wrong. There's literally 3 correct answers here, which is maybe the first time in sports debate history. Seriously. You could say Phoenix won. You could say Houston won, or you could say both won. Okay? Like, that's a good trade. But I told the Rockets not to do this trade. I did. And they did it anyway. I would not have traded Jaylen Green, 3rd overall pick in like year 4 or 5, and Dylan Brooks and Maluach. Would not have done that. And I love Kevin Durant. I would not have done that. I would have stayed the course a la OKC and played a little longer game here than kind of taking the shortcut with Durant. Here's a truth bomb alert. Can you guys handle the truth? I don't know if y'all can handle this truth. Buckle up. Can you still win big with Kevin Durant? How could I even ask this question? Well, because I'm a historian and I've been paying attention. And I don't believe so. I don't believe you can win big with Kevin Durant as your number 1 anymore. I don't. He's in his late 30s, and this is fair criticism, because I love Kevin Durant. I love who he is. I love the ball player, the bucket, all that stuff, okay? But I got to call it like it is. He's a laid-back alpha, and I like that about him, okay? Like Kobe was a cold-blooded alpha, a psychopathic alpha, okay? Durant is not. He's a laid-back alpha. He is an alpha, though, okay? But he's not cut from the Kobe cloth, the Jordan cloth, the Brady cloth, those types of guys. Kevin Durant is 2-5 in his last 7 playoff series. 2-5. That's awful, okay? And it includes 2 first-round wins. The news gets worse, guys. Against the Boston Celtics with no Jaylen Brown and no Kemba Walker, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard played 2 games. Paul George played no games. The only playoff series Kevin Durant has won since 2019 are against shorthanded, completely mangled teams that, of course, you beat them. That's it. That's all he has to show for it. Kevin Durant has not made it out of the second round since 2019 when he blew the tire in the finals with Golden State against Toronto. All right. So, again, I love him, but to me, he's a number 2 right now on a championship team. Durant is not a number 1 on a championship team. We will see how this unfolds. Let's take a look at the standings. Houston last year had a winning percentage of .634. They're at .667 this year, okay? Phoenix had a winning percentage of .439. They're at .583 this year. So both are up in the standings. Phoenix more so than Houston. Phoenix is 10th this year in defense. Last year, they were 28th. Okay, and that's part of the stuff that Durant was talking about. Oh, it's all my fault. But guess what? You bring in Dillon Brooks. Ding. And by the way, Jordan Knott's a hell of a young coach. You're doing a great job there. But they're 10th in defense after 28th last year. That's a monster win. That makes you relevant. That's why they're playing 580 basketball right now. So to me, the Suns won this Durant trade, and Matt Ishbia finally gets a win. Guys, I want to have a laugh with you guys. I want to have a laugh with you guys. Literally, Jason and Kai, can you guys run the video of Steve Kerr losing his mind with the Snoop Dogg live call? Jason, do you have that ready? I've watched it like 37 times since, what was it, Monday night or Tuesday night, whenever that was on. All right, take a listen. Pull the sound up, guys.
He Windex shine that. Get off the Windex shine.
That hit the backboard. Oh, look at Steve Kerr. He's all the way out here.
Uh-oh, Steve, don't get thrown out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Back him up. Back him up, GP. Back him up. Steve ready to fire on him.
He's already gone.
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood. Get him, Steve. You and Inglewood, Steve. The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at it.
I've got to see that replay. It looked like that it had touched the glass there by Peyton.
All right. I can't.
That's your boy.
God
That's
bless
your boy.
I love Snoop, man. I love Snoop. Okay, so we need Snoop on play-by-play. Okay, like the analyst thing, it can't contain Snoop because you guys watch the game. Like Terry Gannon and Reggie Miller are the crew, right? And Terry Gannon said like 3 words the whole second half, okay? Because Snoop was like, oh, here he comes. Oh, in, out, dribble. Oh, and he was like calling the game almost like an MC at the Rock-Up, right, Doc? And just sort of putting that monologue over the game. Oh, it was brilliance, absolute brilliance. But when he goes, Inglewood, I mean, come on, you guys. That's a highlight of the year for me so far. How about you guys?
I love it.
It's
I
up
think
there.
that he was, it was. I love the way he was bringing the Arizona Wildcat. Like he was just bringing like different things, and was like perfect timing, comedic timing. It was great.
Yeah, I'll put it in my top 5.
So Steve Kerr's losing his mind. Did that look like a clean block by John Collins to you guys?
I don't think so.
Really? Guys, fire up that replay again. We got a debate within the debate. I thought John Collins got that very cleanly. Might have clipped GP on the head a little bit coming over for the. I can't give you that. I can't. To me, that's swattage, and we're going the other way. But the point is, like, here it is again. Come on, man. GP doesn't fall down. He doesn't act like he got hit or anything. Anyway, so Doc, we'll agree to disagree on that. But here's my point. Okay, Steve Kerr snaps like we've rarely seen on a call that I thought was called appropriately. But anyway, so on a second look, are you maintaining that was a foul on John Collins? Do you have Steve Kerr's back right now, Doc?
No. I can't really. It was blurry because of where I am. I can't really make even a choice. But I think what you're saying is he had a clean block and then was incidental contact. So yeah, I would say that's a no call. But the other thing is, the time of game, it wasn't like it was a crucial play that would decide the game. I think that's what, third quarter, fourth quarter. Where is that?
Yeah, exactly.
And the score
Exactly.
looks low, so I don't even think it was a critical point of game.
It was
a clutch
8 minutes in the
possession.
fourth quarter. Yeah, 8 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's nothing. So.
Hey, I wanted to play that video for you guys. I've been waiting on it like 3-4 days or whatever. And we, that just made my week. It did. When he goes, he about ready to fire on him. I mean, come on, Snoop is the best, dude. NBC, Peacock, more of Snoop. Okay? And Reggie Miller was just laughing the entire second half. Just literally just having the time of his life. And why wouldn't you? That is the one and only Snoop Dogg. All right, last debate. And guys, tell me if Doc's got to get out of here at 4 o'clock. So let's do one more debate topic, and then AM, would you like to get into some NFL picks?
I do, but Doc, where you got to be? What's at 4 o'clock? You got a massage? You going windsurfing? What's on? What's happening at 4 o'clock? What's going on in Fiji?
You say what?
I said I want to know what's happening at 4 o'clock. Oh, you got yoga, you got a massage, you got windsurfing. What are we losing?
I have to get my breakfast, man. Breakfast. Gotta eat. Gotta eat. Gotta
get the food there. Okay, good. It's that early there.
Jason Arambulo.
Really are.
Jason Arambulo says,
man.
Jason Arambulo with a solid joke. He says you're going to get a new shirt.
Which, by the way, not hear it.
Is it too early there for the main store to open at the hotel? Is that they? Apparel.
Oh, Kai said that. Jason said Kai said that. Hey, he does not need a new shirt. That shirt's dope right
what
there,
do you say?
man.
I can't hear.
Kai said at 4 o'clock you're going to get a new shirt.
Now, Rick, I'm with you. Doc, you look good, man. Honestly, that's a good shirt. That's a good shirt, man.
I would wear the you-know-what out of that shirt. Give me a break. I would proudly wear that shirt. I was wearing a shirt.
It's all about where you wear it.
There you go. Well, you're in Fiji. You're right on brand, dude. Oh, my gosh. All right.
Facts.
So one last debate question here involving the great Dr. X. Is the 65-game rule fair? And the reason that I want to have a little spin around with you guys on this, it comes from the Nikola Jokic injury and all of these butthurt media people that refuse to vote for anybody else under any circumstances other than Jokic because of deep analytics and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not mocking you as I say that I am. I know you're an analytics guy, but I think people it's just analytics. And if it doesn't fit the analytic thing, then it doesn't matter, right? I understand implementing analytics in your analysis, but it shouldn't dominate your analysis, in my humble opinion. There should be eye test, gut test, and a bunch of other stuff, okay? And remember, we gave the discouraging math on Jokic that he is going to fall below the 65 games most likely. He is expected to come back later on this month. We already ran the math on that, right, guys? And it's basically, if he can come back maybe like, I don't have it in front of me, but it's probably not going to work out. And if he misses basically the entire month of January, that's going to basically eat into all of the DMPs he can get, and then he'll fall below 65. So, Dr. X, you first. Is the 65-game rule fair?
I mean, I think it's fair because, what is the alternative number? What's the number that we're talking about that would be fair? If it's 50 games, then it starts becoming unfair for the guys that are able to play those games and to put that time in and to have a larger sample size showing how valuable they are to their team. So ultimately, yeah, injuries aren't fair. It kind of sucks. When I play a video game, I like to turn the injuries off because it just sucks to have an injury and a guy is supposed to win MVP but doesn't play those games. But I know that the MVPs that Michael Jordan won, he probably played close to 80 games a year, and so 65 games, I don't think that's hard to ask. I think if the team wants to help him out and make sure that he plays, then maybe, just kind of control his minutes once he gets, the stat lines that he wants. But, it's unfortunate he had a freak accident with his own player running into him. But I don't think you want to lower the standard. I kind of like it where it is because I think guys are looking for a way to miss games. And so I think that at least there's some incentive for the best players in the league to suit up. And I wouldn't change the rule. I think it's fair. It's unfortunate that injuries are part of the game, but that it is what it is.
We're getting a round of applause from Clearwater, Florida, from a man named Rick Kamla, who's wearing old dusty Pistons gear that Rick Mahorn wants me to take out back and burn. Okay, so that's what's going on there. AM Pfeffer, you are up next. Is the 65-game rule fair?
The notion of a minimum is fair. To me, it should be 58 games. 65 represents 80%. I'm cool with 70% as my minimum. And the reasons for that is because there's a lot of professions in this world where you just have to hit 70% and you're good and you can get the licensing designations or other awards that you otherwise need and get to move through in your profession. Also, 70% is still over 66%, which is effectively 2/3 of the season. Now, when you're talking about MVP, when you're talking about some of these larger awards, if you can play over 2/3 of the season, you are still proving your medal. So I'm just moving it down a little bit. And I know where this is going. Understand this line of questioning, like, no, guys, you can't take time off and you need to be out there 75, 80 games if you're going to be the MVP or you're going to be what it's going to be. But I don't see it that way. This is a long season. These guys battle night in and night out. 48 minutes up and down the court, or a guy like Jokic who's often playing over 40 minutes. To me, it's 70% is the number. So yes, it's a fair for the minimum, but I'm actually cool to have lowered it a little bit. No, but I don't think, I don't agree with anybody who's like, I don't care. Jokic has already won it in his metric. The rest of the season, that's all I'm going to vote for. No, that's ridiculous. But I'm at 70%, not 80.
Okay, so you want a minimum, but you would just lower the number. I understand. You have found a compromise here. I'm with Doc, and I, I got a little, I got a payoff here for you guys. That some people may be like, "There's no way this is true." Yes, it's true. First of all, I'm not talking to you guys, but I'm talking to these butthurt media members. Y'all are such a bunch of soft whiners. This is unbelievable. The second Jokic blows the tire, they did the math. Wow, I can't vote for my guy Jokic for MVP. It's going to fall below 65 games. And now you have a problem with the 65-game rule. Where the hell were these complaints last year, the year before? Oh, but your boy Jokic is hurt. So now you're all pissed off and want to change the damn league about it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's always less games, less minutes, less time on the floor, less usage rate, less. All these media nerds are ignoring the fact that all this time off the floor is leading to all of these calf strains, okay? Every favorite player we have in the league is out. With what? A freaking calf strain, okay? These nerds want to shorten the season. Okay, how dare you? Steve Kerr's right. We need to shorten the season. No, the hell we don't, Steve. Be quiet. Sit down and take your ejection. And Snoop Dogg mocking you, okay? They want to find all these ways to make it easier on the players. Why? Well, everything revolves around the players. Player empowerment. We coddle these guys. Oh, it drives me. It's so triggering for me, guys. They want less basketball. It's what they want. We want a 40-minute game, not a 48-minute game. Oh, my God, don't get me started. We want 70 games, not 82 games. You want less basketball? And that makes sense to who? In what universe? Doesn't make sense on Mars, and they don't play basketball on Mars. I don't even think they have gravity. I don't damn know. But these media guys, Doc, you remember this. AM, you remember this. All these media guys grilling Tom Thibodeau. Boy, his RPMs are running pretty high. He's been 38 minutes in 7 straight games. And Tibbs would be like, shut up. Yes, Tibbs, we need you back in the NBA. I am tired of all these dudes playing 57 games, Jimmy Butler, and making all NBA. No, okay? And here's the payoff. Okay, so I was complaining about this, much like I am right now on Sirius XM NBA radio with either Antonio Daniels or Rick Mahorn or Tim Legler, whoever I was on the air with. Okay, and I just became over it. I'm doing all NBA, and I'm like, there he is, Jimmy Butler, 55 games, all NBA. How? He played 55 games. There's no way. So I said, all right, I'm creating a new rule right now on the radio. Okay, it's called the 65-game rule. You got to play 65 games to win MVP, Rookie of the Year, All NBA, and all this kind of stuff. 65 games. It took about a year and a half, and the NBA adopted it. Now, did Adam Silver drive around New York in a limo, NBA radio, hearing me? I have no idea. I have not had those conversations. But I hit the airwaves first with a 65-game rule, and about a year and a half, 2 years later, ratified, and it is now an NBA rule. Okay, so you can call it the Rick Kamler rule. So over my dead body, are we going backwards on the game minimum of 65? Okay, so that's my answer there. And Doc, I think that we are on pace to get you out right on time.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. It's been a blast. I'm glad I can have some sense of continuity of my actual life with being able to jump on the show. But it's been great. And thanks for getting Rick Mahorn. That was a great interview. And thank you, AM. Appreciate you guys holding it down there in the LA studios. And I'll see you next week.
Doc, a little yogurt, maybe some granola, drizzle of honey, get some green tea. Enjoy Fiji, man.
Facts.
Have fun in Fiji, my friend. Keep having fun, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, you guys continue.
Ladies,
I'm out of here.
All right.
Rick, I am so glad I touched the nerve right there, by the way. I'm so glad I touched the nerve and gave you a little runway. We're not going backwards, man. That you know what? You said it. You did it. And maybe Adam Silver was listening to you. You hit it right on the head.
Again, I can't yes, that he heard. I don't know that, but is it coincidence? It may just be coincidence, but I literally on NBA radio, pretty big stick. It's worldwide. Said that. All right, bragging over. Let's move on here. AM, let's talk some football, baby. Dude.
Yes.
AM.
Love to.
To me, there is actually before we get to the picks, we got to talk John Harbaugh real quick. We can't do this show without talking John Harbaugh. And I kind of we've been in NBA mode and stuff like that. I'll set you up. We all know the news by now. John Harbaugh fired by the Baltimore Ravens. There are 8 open coaching vacancies right now. And to a lot of us, this has been kind of a stunner and a shocker on John Harbaugh. Was it fair, AM, for the Ravens to fire John Harbaugh?
Well, in terms of fairness, sure. It was fair of them to fire John Harbaugh. He missed the playoffs. There's clearly something going on inside the building where there might be a rift with their star player who they paid, and he's going to be their quarterback for the next 4 years. So in that respect, it was fair. Should it have been done? Does John Harbaugh need to be out of this job after 18 years? And a guy who's a CEO running the organization the way that he does and the success that he's had? I mean, in that respect, no, it's not fair. I mean, I wouldn't have fired him. I certainly would have. You look at what he did just 2 years ago, but his success in the playoffs just isn't there. His success with Lamar isn't there. He has not gotten them over the hump and where they need to be anywhere near the championship game, let alone the Super Bowl, which is obviously always the goal. It doesn't mean, again, that he had to be fired, just like you're right, Rick, when anyone talking about does Tomlin need to go or need to be fired? Ludicrous after how many winning seasons that he's had and what he's done for the Pittsburgh organization. But, when you think about Baltimore, one thing that has always impressed me about them is their brain trust. You see GMs come and go. You see presidents come and go. There's turnover constantly in all those other teams. Not so in Baltimore. Those guys have been there for 2 decades, just as long as Harbaugh has been there. So, I'm going to give them their due in knowing what they know, but I don't know who replaces him. I don't know. Are you going into the college ranks and trying to bring in the hot new thing? Or are you going to get somebody else of his ilk? And I don't know who that is to come in because all the guys who are like him already have head coaching positions. So this to me is very strange. Fairness is a interesting word to use. Sure, it was fair of them to fire, but I wouldn't have done it.
Okay, I understand. AM, you are Mr. Nuance, man. I love the way you break things down. You are super nuanced, and that speaks to massive intelligence and a lot of gray matter in that cranium of yours. Hell no, it was not fair to fire John Harbaugh. This is going to set the Ravens back, okay? The Ravens that we know, and all that flock and, Seven Nation Army by White Stripe, boom, boom, boom. They're still going to do that, but they're going to be 4-13, okay? Whoever you hire is going to be a downgrade, period. You are downgrading it, coach. You willingly downgraded it, coach. You asked for that. Big mistake. This is the definition of change for the sake of making a change, which is how the Browns and your Jets roll, AM. And how's that work for them? Okay. Every year or two, they're back in a coaching carousel, and that's why you suck every year. Okay. Will the next head coach fit with Lamar Jackson like John Harbaugh did? Okay, Lamar Jackson's an all-time great talent. I think one day he will have the stats to show that he's the greatest running quarterback in NFL history. Okay, he's not there yet, but I think he will get there. Right now, he's on the Mount Rushmore of running quarterbacks in NFL history, and he is a future Hall of Famer. But he's also high maintenance. He misses a lot of games with blurry injuries. Is he hurt? Is he injured? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is out there at 42 years old playing with a broken hand, dude, and you can't play a game with a back contusion? Are you serious, dude? Are you serious with that? That would piss me off to no end if I were John Harbaugh, okay? And part of me thinks that Harbaugh left because of that, all right? More on that in a minute.
Now you're hitting on something. Do we feel that there was some sort of mutual agreement here that Harbaugh was like, you know what, maybe it's my time to move on?
Okay. ESPN reports, phenomenal question, AM. ESPN reports Jeremy Fowler that Harbaugh was in touch with members of his staff Tuesday about a potential exit, with the impression from those talks being that he had a say in the decision to leave and was expected to get right back into the coaching cycle. Okay, so how much of it was Baltimore wanting a new coach? How much of it was Harbaugh wanting out? Maybe disagreement with upper management. Maybe he grew tired of Lamar Jackson. But there is a report that there might have been a mutual aspect to this. The plot thickens. And I think, I don't want to put words or thoughts into his mouth or his brain, John Harbaugh. But I personally do not believe that you can win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. I don't. Okay. I think he's phenomenal. I want to make that clear. He also struggles with routine checkdowns in playoff games. I've seen it. You've seen it. I mean, my man can't even complete a 10-yard check down. I mean, he can, but there's a lot of times where he doesn't. And that has to be as automatic as a pass in hockey, right? It's a pass. That has to go right where it needs to. A pass in basketball. It's got to be right where that's given stuff. That has to just be there, okay? But it's not. The routine becomes difficult for Lamar in the playoffs when the pressure's turned up. I've made the comparison for years, AM. Lamar Jackson is the James Harden of the NFL. Phenomenal talent, future Hall of Famer, perhaps even all-time great. But he's not a need to win guy. He's a want to win guy. There's also a lack of a clutch gene with Lamar Jackson. And so I don't know. I don't know how much of that led to maybe this mutual parting of ways. But what I know is if the Ravens just flatly fired John Harbaugh, they're morons. They set their franchise back because you're going to go out and get the offensive coordinator from the Rams or something like that. And God forbid you hire a nimwit like Brandon Staley, who went for it on fourth down every dang time. So yeah, that you got anything else on that?
Yeah, I love everything you're saying, especially about Lamar, but it's what the drop off this year from MVP 2 years ago, when he was in the conversation with Josh Allen, and it was neck and neck. And I think a lot of people rightfully would have otherwise chosen Lamar in that year. Like, it was insane. He just wasn't there this year. He wasn't anywhere close to a top 10, top 12 quarterback, and Harbaugh still had them as favorites to win. And, other than a 44 missed field goal by Tyler Loop, they would otherwise be in the playoffs, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now.
Good
right?
point.
But Lamar is not the guy at this point to take you to the promised land. Could they win a Super Bowl? Yeah. I mean, if you're going to win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer, you could certainly win with Lamar Jackson and figure it out, especially if you still have Derrick Henry for another year or two running the way he does. But there was definitely a problem with the defense. Things were not working. Things were not clicking. I'm just curious to see where Harbaugh goes. He's 64 years old, I think. He's got probably an 8 to 10 year run. He's going to try and go for 10-win seasons. He wants another probably 80 to 100 wins on his resume, and I wonder where that's going to be. Super interesting that a day later the Miami job opened up. I mean, maybe he wants to be in sunny southern Florida down there, enjoying that weather. I mean, that is an organization that's been just as bad as the Browns and Jets really in the last 20 years, but there's hope for them. And if you bring in a guy like Harbaugh, who may otherwise want to go, because he ain't going to want to go to the Browns, and he's not going to want to go to Tennessee, and he's not going to want to go to the Jets and replace Aaron Glenn, he might want to go down and take that Miami job. I don't know what else is out there that looks as attractive as that does.
To me, the Giants, just for the history of it, and the Mara family, they know how to win championships. They have. Woody Johnson's clueless. We know this. And I'm not going to bang on Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, but you can't win with Tua Tagovailoa. You can't. Like, to me, that's a bad job. And Tua's under contract, and you've got Ewert. That's a mess. That's a mess. No.
Yeah, but Tua, they're gonna let Tua go. I think they let him go.
What are they going to cut him and they're going to take the dead cap hits?
I think they're going to spread it out over 2 years and probably take that dead cap hit. And it is prohibitive, but the cap is going up so much. I love what you're saying about the Giants. They were always CEO type guys when they brought in Coughlin. Those are the guys who succeed and do all of that. But that is a big spotlight, man. Heading to New York is a big spotlight after being down in a place like Baltimore all those years. I'm just wondering, as you get older, don't you want to be in something where you're enjoying yourself your last 8 to 10 year run? I'd rather be in Florida doing that. I'd rather be down in Miami enjoying that and enjoy that. The no income tax cost, very different than being in the top of Jersey. I don't know. That's just me, by the way, but you know how I think at this point. But you're right. I like what you're saying. As far as it is, the Giants' job's probably the only other attractive one.
I'm in Florida. I love the no state tax factor, and we know the AM Money Minute that's going to come up from you. It always goes back to the money. All right, let's do some picks here, dude. It is Rick Kamla, AM Pfeffer, Dwight Walton under the weather, Brandon Armstrong under the weather. I'm kind of still under the weather. You probably hear it in my voice a little bit. That's why I missed Monday's show. And Dr. X had some stuff to do. So it's me and AM. We're balling. We're talking football. AM Pfeffer, the college football playoff semifinal. It's tonight, baby. 10th Miami against 6th Ole Miss. That's the seeding number, the ranking number, actually. And then Friday we get Oregon and Indiana. Let's take these one by one. Who you got in the U versus Ole Miss? Who you got in this one?
The defense is playing out of their minds. I don't know where this team came from in the last 4 weeks, but they are here and they are putting their stamp on it. I mean, Mississippi is awesome, but there's just like, I don't know. I mean, when offense meets defense, I think defense is going to ultimately prevail in this game. As great as Trinidad Chambliss has been at quarterback, but there's still this just overhanging cloud of like, who is your coach? Because it ain't Lane Kiffin. This is the semifinal now. I'm taking Miami. There's just something about this team. They're on a destiny to reach the final, though I don't think they're going to win it all. So that's my pick.
And I'm on the other side here for one reason. Many reasons. I mean, Ole Miss is a hell of a team. They've got studs on defense. Lane Kiffin did a great job building this team. Coach Golding is doing a fantastic job getting them to this point. I mean, it's really been pretty seamless. Trinidad Chambliss is my new favorite football player. I'm in love with Tristan Chambliss, okay? I think he's a better prospect than Mendoza. I think he's a better prospect than Dante Moore. And I saw that Ty Simpson of Alabama declared for the draft. Big mistake, Ty Simpson. Big mistake. The NFL is going to chew you up and spit you out and move on with their lives. Ty Simpson ain't that dude, okay? When Alabama was playing Citadel and Monroe and all these teams, right? The numbers were fantastic. You get him into the forest of the season against the big boys. His numbers dropped off the table. You saw him struggle. They got annihilated by Indiana. I saw him in the SEC championship game look like garbage against Georgia, right? Ty Simpson ain't that dude. You should have gone back to Alabama, young man. Tristan Chambliss is one of the great prospects I've seen probably the last 10 years. Not a doubt in my mind he's going to flourish in the NFL. Not one single doubt. He's got a flamethrower, throws on the run. He's got improv ability. He's got a muscular body. Love it, love it, love it, love it. The clutch factor that he showed in the second half in the game against Georgia to get here. Come on, dude. Come on. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm rocking with Chambliss. In this sort of like lingering lane Kevin thing just won't go away. So I got Ole Miss over Miami. Okay, let's go to Friday. And I already know your answer, but I got to ask the question anyway. You've got number 5 Oregon. You got number 1 Indiana. Who you got?
How can I possibly go against my Hoosiers? You talk about defense, man. I mean, they're playing lights out, right? No matter what Mendoza does or what the offense does, and I hope they put up 25 plus, I believe they're going to hold Oregon to 20 or less. I got to go Indiana, man. I want to see them down on January 19th in the championship game. I will lose my mind.
Indiana, to me, is by far the best team in college football. By far. And I love that you mentioned their defense. They're the hardest hitting team in college football, period. Even harder than Miami, in my opinion. They've got athletes. They're heat-seeking missiles. They got Kurt Signetti in their heads and in their you-know-whats. Like, he is a hard ass. And I loved it. One of the headlines on ESPN right before I came on the air said, Coach Signetti said, he's always happy. No, he's not. He's never happy. No. That's why he said he's always happy. It's because he's, in fact, never happy. Okay? So, anyway, they have a phenomenal defense. Their offense is rock star. You got the 3 wide receivers. You got like 2 or 3 running backs. Mendoza's clutch as hell. And you've got the hardest hitting defense in college football. Bang. Indiana is going to beat Oregon, and they are going to win the national championship. And we'll get to that. Obviously, it's January 19th. But AM, you get ready for some fun with your Hoosiers. All right, let's move to the NFL, dude. Saturday, AM, 4:30, Rams at Panthers. Rams are a 10.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Rams by 23.
Wow.
I'm gonna say this. There's a world, right? There's a world where you can actually move the ball on the Rams. You can throw on the Rams. But I don't believe Bryce Young has it, at least not for 3/4 of the game. He shows up every once in a while in the fourth quarter, but I just feel like McVay is going to have the game plan necessary. And it's interesting that LA has to travel. This always happens in the NFL, right? They got to travel and they got to go to Carolina and it's across the country or whatever. But there's plenty of time in between now and then. It's not like a regular season game. So they're going to be just fine. I think that they want to put a stamp on this game. And I think the Rams and McVay especially wants to say, I can't even believe we have to be in this position and travel to Carolina. I think this is going to be like a 38-13 game. I really do.
Okay. I have the Rams, but I think Carolina's going to cover AM. Right. It's 10.5. It's a lot of points in a playoff game. It involves cross-country travel. Some West teams don't handle that so well. Carolina does have a good defense. I mean, look, if this game were in LA, I'm rocking with you. It's in Carolina. There might be weather. I don't know that yet, but 10.5 is just a lot. And the other thing, it's just sort of an ironic thing. I can't quantify it, right? But you won your division at 8 and 9. It always seems like the teams that aren't supposed to be there, either win a game or scare a team or something like that. So I think Carolina is going to surprise a lot of people and cover the spread, but I do have the Rams winning. All right, 8 o'clock on Saturday a.m., Packers at Bears. We get the third of the year, and obviously last time it was overtime to throw to DJ Moore. Who you got here, Pack or Bears?
Well, this is an interesting one, too, because if I'm not mistaken, aren't the Pack favored in this game? Isn't like a 1.5 spread?
That is correct. It is 1.5 Packers, exactly.
This is one of those games where I'm just going with Vegas. That's it. I don't know what it is, but like, you know what it really is? It's Williams' first game as a pro in the playoffs. I'm going with the other team. It's just the way that it is. You know, like as good as Johnson has been, LaFleur has been here before. If that's what it comes down to, it's going to come down to the coaching. It's going to come down to making less mistakes. I'm going with the Pack. There's a reason they're 1.5 point favorites. Because it's surprising. When I first saw it, I was like, what's this going to be? 2, 3 by the Bears? Nope, 1.5 Pack. There's a reason that it is. I'm taking them.
I'm taking the Bears because Micah Parsons is rehabbing a torn ACL right now. That's if the Packers brought in Micah Parsons to go to the Super Bowl. They don't have him, okay? And I think that makes them very, very vulnerable. They still have a good defense, but they don't have Micah Parsons, okay? So to me, that's it. I'm going Bears. All right, let's move on here, AM, to Sunday, 1 o'clock game, Buffalo at Jacksonville. How about Buffalo has to start the playoffs on the road? Crazy, right? And Buffalo is a 1.5 point favorite down at Jacksonville. Who you got?
And this is a game where you would otherwise think Buffalo is more like a 3 to 5 point favorite, as well as Jacksonville's been playing. But Jacksonville is playing that well, and Buffalo has a real problem on defense. Something about Liam Cohen. He has this team believing. He has Trevor Lawrence playing at the elevated position that everybody expected him to come in and be the guy. And all of a sudden, the receivers are flying around the field. ETN is playing well. The defense looks cohesive and is doing what they need to do. I'm taking Jacksonville.
Ooh. I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm going Buffalo. I don't want Buffalo to win. I don't care, okay? But AM, Josh Allen will never live it down if he loses in the first round with no Patrick Mahomes and no Lamar Jackson. It's never been more wide open for Josh Allen. He's always had to take out these boogeymen, right? And he beats Mahomes in the regular season. He doesn't beat Mahomes in the playoffs. They're not there. It's wide open for you. And you've got badass teams, New England and Denver and all these squads, right? But Knicks hasn't done it yet. May hasn't done it yet. I mean, hell, you're an MVP. All right, Josh Allen's never going to live it down if you go to Jacksonville and lose, and the Bills are one and done in the playoffs. He's never going to live it down. And Jacksonville's very good. And Jacksonville's a very good team. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, but still, like Josh Allen has to go to Jacksonville to beat the Jaguars. He does. You have to. There's no other option here. By the way, I'm big with patterns and law of averages, right? Jacksonville's won 8 games in a row. To me, they're kind of due for a loss. I got Buffalo.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And then for the 4:30 game, AM, San Fran at Philadelphia. Philly's a 5.5 point fave. Who you got?
Yeah, I think there's just too much going on with San Francisco. Purdy has never traveled well to Philadelphia. If I'm thinking correctly, if I'm thinking back to all the games, it's tough for him there, certainly. Philadelphia is obviously not the same team this year, but they have righted the ship a bit defensively as of late. And you can move the ball on San Francisco. That's just the reality of what it is. As good as their star players are, and as great of a job as the coaching staff has done to get them where they are this year, they're just deficient if you're matching up side by side, talent for talent. Philly's at home, and I always like Philly at home. At least in the first round of the playoffs, I think they've got this locked up. I'm taking Philly in that game.
I'm taking Philly as well. I'm considering a bet. I'm considering funding my Hard Rock bet app account, AM. But as soon as I start
money
saying
line,
that,
are you going to take the spread? Are you taking the spread? Or are you taking money line?
I would take Philly minus 5.5. But at the same time, Phillies look kind of not like Philly this year, So I don't know. Probably not going to do it. But anyway, I got the Eagles. I think they've been kind of bored this year. You're in a lousy division, right? The division didn't fire them up. There were no they're rivalry games, but they've all year long, they've never been in jeopardy of not winning that division. Okay, so I think they got a little bored, a little complacent. San Francisco's beat up. Fred Warner out. Trent Williams not playing in this game. Those are two pillars of this team. And you're going to Philly? That ain't going to work. I got the Eagles. 8 o'clock Sunday Night Football, AM. It's Chargers at Patriots. Pats are a 3.5-point fave. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go Pats. As much as it pains me, I mean, what Vrabel has done up there. And May is, whether you want to give it to Stafford, whether you want to give it to May, that's an entirely different conversation to debate. But this kid and his numbers and the metrics and the way the team believes, you got to go into New England. This whole franchise is back. I hate it. I hate every part of this and the fact that I even need to say it. But come on, you talk about traveling from west to east and playing at night and Herbert banged up. On paper, honestly, the Chargers actually look better, but there's just something about that team and where the Patriots have brought themselves and the job Vrabel is doing. Patriots are going to win this game.
It's going to be cold as hell, you know that. And so you've got a California team that plays indoors. That's going to be an issue. Herbert's got the injury. Drake May's on one. And, I love Drake May at North Carolina AM. I told everybody when he was at North Carolina, this guy comps to Aaron Rodgers. I comped him to Aaron Rodgers. And people are like, dude, do we need to evaluate your urine? How you like me now? But anyway, I'm rocking with my guy, Drake May. I just think he's an absolute stud. I'm like the only guy on earth, AM, who's not that surprised that Drake May's doing this right now. I literally saw NFL greatness from this guy when I watched him in college. All right, let's move on Monday night. Last game. The Houston Texans at the Pittsburgh Steelers in a very, very tasty ending to the biggest weekend of football of the entire calendar year. Who you got, Texans or Stees?
This is the toughest game to pick. It really is. There's so much going on here, but Metcalf's back in this game, right? Like, you're actually going to see him on the field, and he's playing.
Yeah, that's correct. 2-game suspension served.
Yeah, it's over. This is such a strange one. I mean, Houston's defense is that good when they want to be, and Pittsburgh's defense is that bad if you could punch them in the mouth in the first quarter of the game and get them on their heels. But it's like somehow this game's in Pittsburgh. And somehow it's Aaron Rodgers playing for his life. And somehow Mike Tomlin is involved in all of this and has them in the playoffs again, even though he hasn't had success in the playoffs in a long time. And I hate to even say it because they shouldn't be there and Tyler Luke should have hit the field goal. But the Steelers are going to win this game. And Houston's going to go home wondering how this happened.
I completely agree with everything you just said, my friend. Rodgers is Rodgers. And I know he can't run like he used to, and maybe, more mistakes. I mean, he's 42 years old, right? But we saw it in the fourth quarter against Baltimore on Sunday Night Football, okay? The guy was a rock star, throwing touchdown passes. That throw to, who was the kid who scored? Was it Calvin Austin? I think it was Calvin Austin, right?
Yeah, it was Calvin Austin.
But NBC had the corner end zone replay of the ball coming off of Rodgers' hand, and it was like the most John Facenda NFL Films thing ever, right? I mean, the tightest freaking spiral you've ever seen in your damn life, okay? At 42 years old, on a cold as hell night, and just a dime. And I mean, it was wide open. The DB fell, but still, right? I was just like, the majestic quality of Aaron. I'm a fan. I know a lot of people don't like the guy. I like the guy. I like that he's weird and different. I like all that stuff. Anyway, DK Metcalf is back. Okay, this is going to be huge in this game. You got the Terrible Towels. They're going to be playing Renegade by Styx, a phenomenal song in the fourth quarter, getting everybody fired up. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Boswell wins it with a kick at the gun, 19-16. Steelers moving on. All right.
1916. Wait, hold on a second. I just got to throw this out. The jig is up. The news is out. No, sorry. Go ahead. You got me fired up.
Yeah. You got it. You got it. Oh, what a song. It's such a great song, man. Okay. I have a quick rant. It's not a long one. I got a quick rant here, AM, and I hope to keep you laughing here. Guys, fire up Draymond Green from the Draymond Green Show, calling out You guessed it, Jordan Poole.
Come on, man. We can't be doing that. David West used to always tell us, man, if something go on the court, you go over there because you don't know what's going to happen. I ain't saying you got to go over there and fight but you at least got to go stand because you don't know what's going to happen. What if those five guys jump on your one teammate and you stay over there? Then what? You just going to not help then? So David West used to always tell us, man, if your teammate get into it, go over there. If I'm in a fight, though.
Okay, this is borderline insanity, this take right here. This isn't a bad take. It's insane. I have so many problems with this. I'll give you two. Draymond Green is banned permanently from saying anything publicly about Jordan Poole other than an apology, which I would bet everything I own that apology's never come out of Draymond's mouth. Number two, this is the pillow soft NBA, Draymond. I have a question for Draymond, okay? When have five dudes ever jumped one dude in the history of basketball? NBA basketball. Never. Okay, once again, Draymond Green plays the fake tough guy card, and we bring it to you here on Beyond the Surface. Once again, Draymond Green is picking on the easiest target in the history of the world, Jordan Poole. Are you kidding, dude? Are you kidding? Steve Kerr should turn his back on you after this bull crap. Draymond is new media, okay? So this is going to be confusing for him because he's new media. But with all the stuff going on in the NBA right now, I mean, hey, yeah, we got 5 damn topics we couldn't even get to, and we're still long in the show, okay? And you have to isolate Jordan effing Poole, who is watching with big eyes as Jose Alvarado fought Mark Williams, okay? Draymond, hello? Jordan Poole knew what we already know. Jose Alvarado is a real tough guy, not a fake tough guy like you. Jordan Poole knew that Jose was going to win that fight, Draymond. He didn't need help. Jose doesn't want help. Jose doesn't want you coming to have his back. He don't need you, bro. He doesn't. Jose won a fight at 6 foot against a 7'1" guy, okay? What was Jordan Poole going to do, Draymond? This is freaking pathetic. There is no team in sports that I despise more right now than the Golden State Warriors. It has nothing to do with Will Richard and Steph Curry. It has everything to do with the very, very unlikable Steve Kerr and the very, very unlikable Draymond Green. I'm done, okay? I respect the body of work. I give them flowers for what they've accomplished, the dynasty and all that kind of stuff. But every time they lose, I get excited. Like the other night when Snoop Dogg was doing his thing, and what was it, the Clippers? I forget who they were playing that night. Yeah, the Clippers beat him. I was like, yes, another L for the Golden State Warriors. What's your rant this week, AM?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying here. The great Mark Cuban, Indiana University alum, I heard him on a podcast one time. He had one of the greatest lines that really just stuck with me. He said, he was talking about some businesses that he had invested in, and he said, they're dead and they don't know it yet. I love that. I love the image that it conjures in your mind. And I feel that way about the Golden State Warriors. And it is time to give it up, Steve Kerr. It's time to move on. It's time to stop thinking about who you need to bring in and pair with Curry and Butler and whatnot. I mean, Curry should stay there and finish out his career. And he's having like just an insane year, by the way. I mean, he's draining 3 after 3. It's just incredible what he's doing again. But Butler's not getting it done. Draymond's not getting it done. No one on the team's getting it done. Kerr is checked out on a level that we haven't seen in the longest time. And I'm going to pair you with an East Coast team. And I feel the same way about the Milwaukee Bucks. Why am I hearing about you being buyers? Get Giannis out the building at this point. It's over. You don't have the picks, and it's cool. And he said, I'm never going to demand a trade, and that's fine, and you're a stand-up guy. But we all know behind the scenes you're having conversations about where you would otherwise go, even though you're not, quote-unquote, demanding the trade. But if Milwaukee was smart, they'd realize they're dead, and they don't know it yet. It's over. Both of these dynasties, franchises, whatever you want to call them, they need to move on. They need to regroup. They need to think about the future. Don't throw good money after bad.
I like it. AM, a shout out before we get out?
I'll leave it to you. I'm shouting out everybody. I'm happy New Year. I'm so happy to be back. I'm sorry we missed the show. I'm missing everybody, man. I'm missing B-Dot. I'm missing Dwight. Shout out to B-Dot and Dwight. Guys, please rest up. Feel better. We miss you. We need you back on.
It's that time of year. I mean, you can hear the rattle in my throat. I had the flu, went to Boston for New Year's Eve, and somewhere along the line picked up. I mean, I got the damn plague, dude. I Saturday and Sunday this past weekend was real tough. Anyway, yeah, so we wish Brandon and Dwight very well in their recoveries here. Just a quick shout out, man. Rick Mahorn. You know, we had the original Bad Boy, one of my favorite interviews that we've done because all the ball busting and trolling that Rick brought to the table. Phenomenal guy, phenomenal interview. And we'll be clipping some of that and putting it out in bite-sized little chunks for you guys. But AM, we are out, man. Big thanks behind the glass to Jason Arambulo. Big thanks to Kai Josephson as well. Dr. X, for Dwight Walton, Brandon Armstrong. Even though they weren't here today, we love you guys. And for the great AM Pfeffer, I am Rick Kamla. We will be back on Monday, folks, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with the next edition of Beyond the Surface. Have a great weekend, everybody.